like a real
Yeah, I think
dodgy sandwich with the three.
Yeah, I think if I was going to play this
action,
as David, I'd probably just put it in now, just jab. If I was going to continue with the hands.
Yeah, I definitely.
So I wouldn't want Jack coming in behind with the King Queen suited or your Jack's head suited either. So
you have them covered in stacks, but also the fact that you
look, yeah, great fold. He's just realising that his range is super strong, and even though you've got tens,
he's stack. Yeah, we've got problems with the stream. It's all gone down, but the stack size, he's protecting his big stack. He knows that this is not the spot that he needs to like get involved in. When he's unsure, he's unsure. It's a middling pair. There's not going to be many flops. You're always going to have an overcard on the flop, right? Most flops. So yeah, I like the fold.
Jamie's getting a load of old spanners at the moment. 6 deuce off. Never nice to see.
Yeah, but he's got the patience. He certainly knows this structure inside out like the back of his hand, so he's not going to be worried about having this size stack. He knows there's plenty of play, plenty of opportunity, and he needs to pick his spot at this table. He hasn't got the easiest of tables here, you know.
So Leon's going to come and open to 1k with the King Jack off.
Yeah. Leon's the sort of player that he's not going to tighten up his range because of the calibre of player behind him to act. He's going to still.
Yeah, he's not going to change his game.
Yeah, he's definitely like that. So
no one phases him from when I've played him. In fact, I think he's one of those who relishes tougher competition.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think he thrives off of it, and he's, rates himself as a player as he should. He's not going to like just roll over because someone rocks up at the table. We've just refreshed the stream, so hopefully it should be okay now. I'm hoping for you guys. If it's not, then just refresh it in your own lobbies and hopefully it will work. I can only apologise for it. So we see Leon now with the ace-jack suited under the gun, again coming in for an open, raising to 1k, blinds 200, 400, and Antonis with the sixes behind. You can see him calling this. He's probably going to peel with this pair. Can't see him 3-betting off of this stack. He's not deep enough to be getting busy with it. So yeah, we do see it. And then we've got Jazzy behind with the tens that also comes in flat calling the 1k in position. And now David wakes up with kings in a small blind. This is a, big hand clashes here. This can really look like a squeeze play after under the gun raises and 2 flat callers. It can just look, it doesn't have to be kings. He doesn't have to have a hand as strong as kings to do this play. So he may not, they may not sort of give him credit for kings. Leon could jam here even because of this situation. Sometimes he will just go for building that stack, but we can see it won't work in this situation. He might decide to fold because of the action round, but I know Leon as a player will sometimes take this spot, so it'll be interesting to see. And he does fold, so good fold there. It's probably the deciding factor of the other 2 players in the pot behind. Can't see Antonis calling this. He'll just be folding, getting out of the way.
Oh wow! Jazzy's got a decision now with his tens.
Just looks like a perfect squeeze play spot by David in the small blind, you don't necessarily credit him with having this massive monster pair.
Did Jazzy just call pre-flop to the open, did he, with his tens?
Yeah, exactly that. So Leon has raised under the gun. Antonis is flatted with sixes.
Yeah.
Jazzy is flatted with tens, and now David
Oh,
comes
wow,
in
yeah.
for the 3-bet squeeze
Wow,
in the small blind.
that's a fold.
That is, honestly...
That's I can read up on
it's
David.
Really
that.
good. It's a really, really
That
good
is a
fold.
great
But do you know
fold.
what? That will be exploited
I
later
don't
on.
know. I mean, yeah, but you can't, if he's picked to read up on him, then fair play. You don't know if it's just
absolutely.
him being overcautious or if he's picked to read up. You don't know, do you?
Wow, good luck trying to get a read off of David Doherty. Jesus, it's like...
Both those folds with tens,
Really
David to
good.
Antonis and
I said that
Jazzy
Leon's the sort of player, though, that I could actually see him sometimes. Obviously, he didn't take that spot, but sometimes I can see him ripping all in with the ace-jack suited.
Oh, did he have ace-jack, did he?
Ace-jack suited under the gun. He had raised to 1k. But I can see, because he's got a starting stack, I can see him having the mentality of, this is my opportunity to, like, build. Do you know what I mean? Or rebuy.
Yeah.
He's a player like that.
I'm impressed with that tens fold.
I'm impressed with all three of them folds.
Yeah, me
but
too.
the tens in particular, because, you know, obviously last out they're closing the action. And David builds onto his.
I'd actually prefer. I want to play this hand on the button, but I prefer a 3-bet, even though it's pretty loose, just because Jamie and Leon are going to be involved in the pot a lot, and you go multi-way, and you're going to get caused a bit of problems. I'd probably prefer to 3-bet this if I was going to play it. I know it's a little bit loose to an under the gun open.
I think I disagree. I'm going to be really honest.
No, I think that even's fine. That's the way I just prefer.
My reasoning behind is the fact that Connor has hardly played a hand, so he's been pretty tight. So, obviously, 6-7 suited is perfectly playable even against the range that Connor will have, but also because of the stack sizes of Jamie and Leon, that if you want them to be in and you want to be able to have the opportunity to play for their stacks.
Yeah.
So by 3-betting the button, you're kind of like going to be pushing them off of anything that's playable.
But the problem is when Leon comes in with the a6 off and dominates r6, you know, that can cause a few problems post flop. I think it can go either way. It's just preference. It's just a preference, whatever you think. As long as you play the hand.
Yeah, definitely. And he's just.
You can even fold it, I guess.
He's got all of them covered, doesn't he? He's got a similar stat to Connor, so that might actually be a factor as well. The fact that they've got similar stats, but Connor finds the C bet and David.
If Jamie plays the hand, I'd probably put his range more on like a middling pair, 5s, 6s. Maybe not 6s because there's 2 out, but 5s, 3s, that kind of hand, overcalling the small blind after the button peeled.
We can see
and now he's
Jamie's cards
continuing.
haven't registered again, so this a couple of times this has happened that we don't know what he's holding, but
this will be pretty interesting because if I've read Jamie for like a small middlist pair, then Connor probably has as well. So he knows that Jamie's hardly has any. He has no Jack X in his range at all.
Exactly that.
So now he's going to try and bet this card, I think, and try and get Jamie to fold his 7s, 6s, 5s, 3s,
ace highs,
8s maybe, but I doubt. I think 8s maybe just puts it in pre as Jamie after a raise and a call. So yeah, this is a nice play from Connor.
Going in on the flop for Jamie, aren't
yeah,
they?
I imagine Jamie's got a small pair there.
So
or pre-flop, I
actually
imagine.
put Jamie on like an ace high type hand,
really?
like an ace 3, ace.
Oh, wheel,
ace,
like suited
a
wheel
a
hand.
Wheel draw,
yeah, that's fair.
Suited ace that's kind of, it's too weak to shove with pre-flop, but it's on that flop. It's easy to continue.
Yeah,
with.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I would put him on the ace high, which Connor has now
with a good shot.
Yeah.
Either way, Connor's got a great card to go for there with his king high.
Connor has to bet that there because he needs to get rid of any ace highs off of that and any pairs as well, like 5, 6s.
Yeah, Jamie's handcuffed there with his range usually, unless Jamie's somehow flopped
and
quads or forceful.
He's handcuffed with that stack at the moment. This is what happens when you've lost a few pots and you are a little bit short. You have to play a lot more carefully. You can't just take every street and get to every river. You have to preserve your chips and make sure that you're still getting them to work.
Jamie kind of wants to play this hand. but he's got a very awkward stack size to do anything.
Definitely.
But I think he was suspicious of the open, and he kind of, if he had 16, 17k, I could think he would three bet that hand for sure.
We know Jamie would be wanting to play that hand. Let's be honest. We know that he would. He's got the ability to play that hand. He's definitely would normally play that, but he just doesn't have the stack size. He's handcuffed at the moment with it.
Yeah, Caldimus, but he's not going to, with his Jack 9 suited, he's not going to call the flop bet, is he? So I think his range was, like Katie said, suited wheel aces or small pairs, the middle pairs that now he has to fold when the Jack hits the turn.
Yeah.
So James is coming for a smallish C bet here, and luckily for him, two very bad hands have just missed the flop and folded. So chip stacks here, Connor's.
Jamie could even have a 4x there, but like a really weak 4x, like a 4-7, 4-8.
Suited.
4-9, 4-10, like anything with a 4 in it that, because of the C bet, he's almost like not wanting to get it in on that headboard. There could be over pairs.
No, I'm not too sure, because Connor did raise under the gun, so his range is pretty strong. David's on the button.
Yeah.
Then Jamie's small blind. I don't think he's going to flick in 10-4 suited there, to be honest.
Like a 4-5?
4-5 suited, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But it's kind of, you know.
Yeah, there is a few of those, but I think you're right to range it.
It felt like more like an Ace-X.
Yeah, we'll ask him when we get a chance.
For me, anyway, that's what I would be thinking there. So we see Jazzy with the Ace Jack suited here. This again, this Queen 10, like.
He's getting hands that just aren't good enough with his stack or anything.
It's just so marginal.
But Leon's going to be playing this, isn't he?
Leon with the suited King Queen now on the button. Yeah, I can see. Like, do you know what? I can see him wanting to free bet this. He's got like a lesser starting stack, but
I think he's just going to. He's too pretty the hand to just 3-bet and have to fold if Jazzy jams. I think he's just going to call.
Yeah, because of his stack size. This is again where it all comes into play.
But he has 3-bet, I think. Has he gone 3,000?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jazz is going to call nearly all the time, you think?
I think so with his stack, yeah.
Yeah.
Suited big ace, yeah. He's not going to want to like just
rip it in, just jam him, set him in. It's just too reckless with ace jack.
Yeah.
But suited is just going to call and we're going to go to this flop.
Yeah.
Almost certainly, I'd imagine.
Well, it's gonna play so well, isn't it, on post flop?
He's going to call, so we're going to go to the streets. Two lovely little hands there, and a lot of hands that can make two pairs and the other one straight draws and etc. If they both connect somewhere.
Like Leon's going to hit it. Oh, he's not.
Leon might end up winning the pot though. even though Jazzy's flop top pair, Leon could end up winning this pot quite easily with how he plays. Honestly, probably going to see bet Jazzy's going to call, and then if a spade rolls off, or even if it doesn't, Leon might have another stab with it because his hand's just so weak on this board. He might just decide to go for it twice. Okay, so we check back.
Hit any queen, king, or 10 now, so he's got a couple more outs. And that, I think he check backs. Yeah, I think he check backs with this stack here. And the fact that he's turned.
Got a shot.
Yeah.
I'm done trying to predict what Leon does. So having played with him, I couldn't predict it when I played with him, and I definitely can't predict when I'm watching him either. I'm just Leon's a gangster. He's great for the game. He's a street player.
Fearless.
Yeah, he just loves the game. And now Jazzy's got a very easy call now to the size and everything. Now the hand's played. Yeah, Leon does love it. He's great to watch on the feature.
He's such a nice guy though. Like when you're playing with him at the table, I know like he's got his hood up and he's very like keeps himself closed off when he's in hand. But honestly, he's such a lovely guy. He never not says hello. He's like friendly.
Leon's not the type to give up this spot, by the way.
No.
Do you think? I said I'm not going to guess what he does.
On the river, like he can easily
just put it in now.
There
he go on, son.
There we go.
And Jazzy's not a million to fold this either, by the way. This is a nice hand to watch.
He folds this. Jazzy folds this.
I bet you £2 he calls without knowing what happens. I bet you £2. A pound he calls. You want to bet? All right, a pound he calls. And I swear on my life, I don't know.
Pound he folds.
All right, I think.
What do we think, chat box? What do we think? Call or fold? It's in the tank.
Pound.
I mean, it's a chunk of his stack as well.
Yeah.
Like, if he calls and he's wrong, it's a chunk. But do you know what? Some players end up thinking more about what they can have as a result of winning the hand. It's so much more of a, an attraction, if you like, than if you fold the hand. If you call the hand and lose, he's on like 17, 18k, 18k.
Yeah.
And it's still playable, an 18k stack. Whereas these are the opportunities and the moments that you can get to really build your stack up. He will be up there with the 53, 54k stack. And that might actually be more of a draw to him.
I'm not sure if I think Jazz is just thinking about how the hand's played out and what kind of like ace X or king X of spades maybe he can have that would play that way and what combinations. I think he's very methodical and he'll be thinking in his head. And he's quite capable of making this call, thinking Leon's full of
I
rubbish.
think all of that, but I do also think there are some players that just want to be the hero at the table and show that they've got it in them. And these are the spots as well that actually will tell a story to the rest of the table there. That if he calls and shows this that he's good here and that he's heroed it off in this spot, it almost puts a warning card out to the rest of the table of, don't bluff me.
But he made a really great fold with the tens.
Yeah,
so this is a lot even easier fold than that hand. So I don't.
He's just not believing it.
He don't believe it, does he?
He's not believing it.
He's calling.
The longer this goes on, the more I think he is calling.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest.
He obviously smells a rat, doesn't he?
He's just going back for his chips too many. There's too many body language tells here where he's touching the chips. He wants to call. He's got them.
He's going to be the hero.
I think he's going to hero this off now. Can I have my pound back?
You haven't paid me yet. You've not lost yet. Stop trying to jinx it.
No, I think he's just got too many tells for me, I think.
I'll lose the moment he picks his cards up and starts shuffling back because they always fold there.
Yeah. They are.
There he goes. Pay the pound. Pay the piper. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Great call.
Good call.
He's worked it out. Great call. Good bluff. Great call. Leon
really
loves
good
it.
hero
You got to buy
call.
the heart.
Oh, I love it. I love that. Do you know what? Someone said to me last night, if you're not bluffing, if you don't bust by bluffing a river, not too much, but now and then you're not bluffing enough and you're not trying hard enough. So, I'm not saying you want that to happen, but yeah, it shows that the quality of player that Leon is. It didn't work out on this occasion, but it was a good shove, wasn't it?
What did they say? What did KGB say around us? Pay him. Pay that man his money. Come on, get your pound out. Oh, high five won't suffice. I need one of the Queen's round coins, please.
I'm afraid I only pay by card.
Oh.
Do you have a pay machine?
Oh no, not one of these non-cash merchants that never carries any readies. So Jazz is going to feel it 1,000,000% now after that call, isn't he? He's going to be feeling
in
good.
front of the camera so everyone can see.
Ah, thank you, evidence. Do you want a receipt for it? That was a nice hand. Nice fun hand. Thank you.
No, I haven't given it to you yet. I'm giving it to you when I've got witnesses.
Oh, you can put the thing on, can't you?
Yes, I've got witnesses. Right. You can witness this. There
First
you go.
winning bet of the month. Destitute, really.
You can buy a cup of tea now.
Thank you very much.
There you go. You're all my witnesses.
Hopefully I'll have a chance to double or quit now I found my sucker next door to me. Hopefully another hand comes up, I can double it to £2. Please gamble responsibly out there.
I'm going to win that back from you before the end.
Oh, you're chasing your money. That's irresponsible gambling. That's one of the rules.
Yes, but we're also told to keep it fun, so I'm abiding by that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Keep it fun.
When the fun stops, stop. Now, Jamie's going to play this hand. No, I don't.
Thought I looked up and nines.
No, it wasn't nines. So James has come in with an open. Jamie's definitely going to play. It's whether he decides to call 3-bet or just jam.
He might rip that.
What do you have? A bit under 30 bigs, just a little bit too much. I imagine. I wouldn't have minded it.
Can I have your sweet, and then you can get a new fresh one, can't you? Your big bag.
No, it's fine. Queen 6-9 rainbow.
You can have it in the wrapper and take it.
Quite a good flop for James. He's got a lot of back doors working with that 9 of spades, and it's a good flop for Jamie as well.
Yeah, decent flop for Jamie. He's only worried about a couple of 9x type hands, but under the gun.
Whether he's going to bet or not, I think I usually check back some of the time here.
I like Jamie's bet here.
What's he gone for?
But I just like the fact
1K?
he's bet.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what amount. I just like the fact that he's used the initiative to take over the betting lead from someone who's decided to check the flop after having raised pre. You know, it's on this particular hand. You don't really want to see many. You don't want to give him a free turn. You know.
I wouldn't be surprised if James check raises to like 2.7k here.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then jam any turn that's like a queen, a jack, a
Putting
10, a
on
spade, even like a 7. There's lots of cards that can give James a lot of equity on this turn card. So.
Jamie's now got to think through the potential hands that would raise pre-flop under the gun and would be check raising a flop. It's kind of a tricky one.
Jamie's called
for his stack size. I'm surprised Jamie don't shove if he's going to be in it with this, but
see, this is the look at the turn now. This is the perfect card. Look at this card for Queen Jack of Spades, Queen 10 of Spades.
Wow.
So now obviously James is going to put him in for 7k.
You just put it all in.
And Jamie's got a real tough decision now. Does he not just put him in?
What's happened here?
Oh yeah,
it's 15.
Yeah.
We can't see the chip colours, but
now Jamie's in.
Yeah, he's just got past now. It looks too strong.
So Jamie's in the blender here. You can still beat hands like ace queen, ace 10 that might have decided to use this as a bluff. So
he just has to fold this.
So that's why against a capable player like James that I sometimes check back the 8s, even though there's a lot of cards that can overcards that can come. There's also a chance of getting check raised there more than if it was another player. So if James was, let's say, Antonis, I would bet it.
Yeah.
But if it was David or James or Jazzy or someone like Ewan, I would be fearful of getting check raised on that kind of dry board quite a lot. So I might check back the 8s
their
on the flop.
ability is to take that spot, isn't it, with a check raise, whereas others wouldn't necessarily, and without the goods, you know, they would need the goods to check raise.
Yeah, for sure.
Those players don't. So yeah, no, it's
and I'm lucky
really
for Jamie
point.
that card came, that James could actually shove on, because if a card like a brick and it pairs the flop, James is not ripping it in, he's check folding or checking giving up.
Yeah.
So it's unlucky for Jamie that he got that turn card that gave him so much equity to shove.
Yeah.
But I do like the way that James played that hand. And he's going to call here with a 10-9 of diamonds.
And it was the perfect play against the stack size involved in the hand, you know.
Yeah. So David's open ace 8 of clubs under the gun, and James has called with his 10-9 of diamonds, waiting on the flop. Ace 3-4.
Rainbow.
Now these are a lot of flops. These flops, technically, game theory wise, you're supposed to check back quite a lot of the times, even with strong aces. Just because the 4 and the 3, the big blind, and the wheel cards, the 5 deuce, and more are always going to be in the big blind, not under the gun.
Which is now.
So David's aware of that, so he checked it back, which shows me that David's done quite a lot of theory work.
He has.
So that'd show me immediately he's done that. So I'd know I was playing with this cookie, you know. I knew I was playing with this type of player. If I didn't know the players, I'd know straight away now. that Davy's done a lot of GTO work, because those ace deuce 3, ace deuce 4 flops, you're supposed to check back with a lot of ace X in your hand.
And then proceed on turns.
Yeah. Because as the big blind, if someone c-bets, you're supposed to attack those boards. So that's why you check back as the opener, because the big blind's supposed to attack those boards. And he knows James has done a lot of work like that as well.
Right.
So it was kind of like a bit of a standoff there, and David decided to check back, which I thought was a good check.
Yeah.
So Connor's picked up ace queen. He's not picked up much, has he? He had the king's early and 3-bet, and that was about it. But his stacks about still the same as...
to get involved though. It's been, it's not the easiest of tables, and the fact that he's got that stack size, he's kind of got the long clock and the patience to wait. It's I played with Connor the other day, and he kind of does sit out these, not literally sit out, but he kind of like sits passive during these early levels, and then when the blinds increase later and stacks become a little bit more shallow, he really goes some then and comes into his own. I noticed that the other day.
So I like this check back as Connor. You've got gut shot, you've got backdoor flush draw, but you've still got ace high, it still could be good. You're betting into David, who can check raise your loads and put you in a lot of trouble. And now he can always call a turn bet. So David's got gut shot, flush draw, but nothing, but only 7 high actually at the moment. So a lot of interesting river cards to see how David proceeds. So now this 7-5
I can see David betting out here, because he can represent maybe a 9x, maybe sort of
Jack
7-9 type.
He can still have the Queen 10.
He can have.
But a lot of players nowadays don't like to bet. Don't
yeah.
like to bet miss flush draws and choose them as the ones to give up.
Yeah, because it looks fairly transparent.
Well,
and
the fact that you've got 2 hearts, so you stop your opponent from having 2 hearts, which is a hand he would fold to if you bet. So you decide to take the high road a lot with miss flush draws as bluffs. And David would probably take some tiny pairs as bluffs, some king highs as bluffs, and hands like that rather than the miss flush draws. They choose to use them as bluffs.
Yeah.
And obviously value bet a 9.
Even like a king queen offsuit.
Yeah.
Without the heart.
To get hands like
better.
ace queen to fold, exactly. Yeah. So we've got 20 minutes left on the level, is it? And then it's back with Towering J, is that right? Or have I got my timing all wrong?
Something like that. Perhaps,
yeah.
That's fine.
So Antonis has found a hand. He's been quite quiet recently, since he got that King's 3-bet through. So he's got 8 and the hijack. He's going to come in with an open. About 900 or 1,000's been the standard, hasn't it, on this table at this level? So it's gone for 1K.
I think 1K they've gone for at this level. Probably because the blinds are getting more worthwhile to actually pick up pre. And the fact that it's a pretty tough table, you kind of want to make your raises a little bit bigger, so you're not valuing in other players.
Jamie's got to be a bit frustrated how it's gone for him.
Absolutely, yeah. But
he definitely wants to play pots with Antonis, doesn't he?
Yeah, he picks on the weak spot of the table. That's what you have to do. And he's one that will recognise that straight away.
Yeah. I don't know if Antonis is going to bet this, and I don't know if Jamie can think he's going to think his range is that wide. He might rip it with a gut shot and overcard. No, he just folded. It's obviously a good fold.
I wouldn't blame him for jamming on that.
Because Antonis, out of anyone's the type of guy who'd bet ace high there and fold to a jam. Maybe he bet too big or set him in. We didn't see that bet size, did we?
Antonis could also have like a 8-10 or one of these sort of, suited.
Yeah, I think the problem there was that Antonis bet so much to kind of commit himself that Jamie didn't have any fold equity.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't quite see what he bet, but looking back, it looked like a big chunk.
I think if Antonis checks back that flop, then
Jamie might end up winning the pot somehow. Yeah.
He can jam the flop. The turn as well. So
Jack not had much to play with, Jack Salter, apart from that hand where he chopped up when they both hit trips and then filled up on the turn.
Yeah, the blind on blind hand where it's Jazzy with the aces. We've seen him with aces a couple of times now, haven't we? So both of them in late positions, I think. Well, I think both actually might be hijack cut off.
Jazzy's made some, like, in inverted commas, mistakes in, like, the theory world, but he's not made any mistake in the actual hands.
No, he hasn't.
So it tells me that his live reads are probably bang on.
Bang on. And this player he's up against now is a new player to the table, Maxim, is that how you pronounce that? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Maxime, maybe, but...
Maxime?
Have we got the French accent commas on, or... We've not got the software for any punctuation in. If anyone knows the guy who can give us the phonetic spelling
anyway,
again.
He's a new player to the table, so he hasn't seen the plays. He hasn't seen, obviously, the really good big hero
Unless he was watching on his phone from
Jazzy
another table.
That's made. We wouldn't have got to that point yet anyway. It's half-hour delay, so...
Yeah, Max. We'll call him Max till we know, for sure.
Max, yeah. I want to say Maxi-me. Maxi-me.
The opposite of Mini-me.
Mini-me, Maxi-me.
Yeah. Goes by Max for sure.
Yeah, he must do, yeah.
100% sure?
Hi, Connor.
So he's watching the action back, yeah.
Nice stack. Well, at the moment, anyway, we're not sure about what happens in
no spoilers,
future.
No spoilers, please.
Yeah, no spoilers in chat. Maxime. Okay.
He's joking. Give over, Connor. You're having a laugh. Call that bluff, please. James has come open.
I'm not saying that in a bad way, like the weak spot. I'm not calling him a weak player by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying that the calibre of players on this table is tough. Like, it's a super, super tough table with Jamie wanting to find as good a spot as he can, kind of thing. And, you know, I don't regard myself as a really, you know, like a bad player, but I'm definitely the spot at the table on that one if I was there. Like, and I would. So I'm not saying it in a bad way. If I was at that table, Jamie would be trying to beat me up and trying to free bet me, because he would deem me the spot at the table. And I wouldn't take any offence to that if Jay or Trig was in the comms and was saying that about me. Like, you get what I mean?
Personal.
Yeah, it's not a personal thing. It's just the players. You've got really, you know, you've got Jack Salter, you've got Connor Driscoll, you've got David Doherty, you know, Jamie himself. You've got someone has to be the spot, right? Yeah. You know, especially when you're so card dead. Jamie hasn't had a lot to work with either, so he's having to sort of work with when he has position and, you know, his patience. Just one of them things.
So Max is open to 900 with a Queen 8 off, and Jack Salter's defending the big blind with Ace 3. Small bet or check from Max is always the play here. So he's gone a third part, and Jack's just going to fold. Pretty standard hand. Arguments for checking back the Queen 8 there, or betting small. Either one's fine. So it's been a good level for Jazzy. Connor's made a little bit of progress without being in many pots or having many spots to accumulate chips. David's had a good level. Obviously Jamnick's Jamie, our team pro friend, is not had a great level. He'd be a bit frustrated, but sometimes it goes like that. Antonis is...
He'll know how to play this. What went to...
Yeah, Antonis is just under what he started with.
Now he's got to push it, shove it in, and hope, you know, that he can find a hand and kind of hold and get the double up, and, you know, needs a double again after that, really. But
hopefully he don't find Ace 10 here, or it's going in against David.
Yeah.
David's got Ace Queen off. He's going to open. Maxime's going to come in with the 3 bet 100% of the time with queens. If you're going to trap hands here, it should be aces, and aces at a lot big frequency, and kings some of the time. But Queens is always going to be a 3-bet for these
definitely.
positions.
So he does 3 bets of 3k. He's going to fold back round to David.
And David's probably going to appeal at least, or jam a lot of the time.
He's asking what his starting stack is, and
with ace-queen suited, he's always peeling, I think, or he's peeling the majority of the time with ace-queen suited because it flops better. But with ace-queen off, I imagine he's going to jam or call. But
no,
I thought he would jam a frequency there.
It's a new player to the table. You don't expect them to be getting busy straight away, and the fact that I think you can see him now.
Can you see
They're really focusing on each other. He's really trying to get a read off him and watching what's going on. So 2, 3, 4. So it does pick up a straight draw.
Yeah, David's going to call this for sure.
Tiny bet, so pricing him in. I would imagine he just flat assist.
He's just going to call, yeah, he's just going to call. I've not seen Lewis Salter for a while, so I've no idea if he still plays. I'm pretty sure he still plays. Mainly over in America, though. I think maybe someone can correct me. 9 on the turn. She's going to go check, bet, fold. I imagine.
I can imagine it's just been it now. Yeah.
3.8, and then put the rest on the river as your max. Yeah. Sound about right?
Well, yeah, because then you're
you've got to bet enough to protect against ace-x hands, and you've still got to.
Whether we might go a little bit bigger, 4.2 maybe.
Scott in the chat's asking about Lewis. I've no idea, but I'm just guessing he's still playing. So he's gone for 3.8, and
this should just get the job done, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to fold. Because David with his ace-x is blocking some of his bluffs, so he's weighted more towards hands like he's got, or like a hand like jacks, kings, which David unblocks. So I don't think a call's a terrible play for that size of bet. So he's gonna come in for a call. The problem is if the wheel does come off, he's gonna have to just check again, and he's not going to get his value that way. Another 9. Now it's going to go bet all in and
check, bet, fold.
And fold.
I think he's
majority of the time.
Too late here, but he obviously, he's a quality player, so he obviously has his reasons.
Having the Queen of Hearts for David's not very good card.
I'm going to take a photo and actually ask him about these particular hands after.
Yeah, I think David will fold this with the Queen of Hearts in his hand. If it was ace Queen of clubs, it may be called sometimes, but the Queen of Hearts is just a bad card for him to call with.
I think that's what he's checking back for now.
Yeah, he wants to see what kind of cards he's got. Queen of Hearts is a pretty bad card here.
It's not a snap fold, though. He's going to like.
Do you want to double look at that pound?
He's reached. Oh, yes, he'll fold. He will fold. What do you reckon? You reckon he's going to call?
No, I think he's going to fold.
Yeah, I think he's going to fold.
I really like the sizing Max has used in this hand.
I'll be honest, I don't like the call on turn, but I know that David will definitely have his reasoning behind it. I just would like to understand that a little bit more from my own perspective, my own plan.
The reasoning is he's still got a gut shot to the thingy, and he's still got 2 overcards against bluffs.
But for the sizing, you know that all in is coming on the river, so you need to then hit. This kind of just feels like wasted chips to me, but like I said, he'll have his reasons, and I understand the reasons.
Turn spot is grim for sure, but I just love Maxime's sizing in every spot. Yeah. So it makes me think that he's a pretty good player at least.
He knows what he's doing, yeah.
Without knowing him, I might know his online names or whatever. I might have played him down the streets previously.
The longer this goes on for, the more it makes me think he's going to call, just because he's going to, yeah. You can tell with that hand gesture, then he's almost like,
Oh, another 20 seconds, I'd have doubled that pound to 2, I think, Katie. I think We might have gambled.
No, I thought he was going to fold. Yeah. I said he was going to fold, but it just the longer it goes on, sometimes it skews the thinking.
Yeah, he does.
And
No,
it
he does.
sometimes makes
for sure.
They say think long, think wrong, don't
yeah,
they? So
well,
it's kind of
Jazzy
like
took ages and actually called. So the longer that went on, we were saying he's actually going to call this. And
yeah.
You knew your pound was gone, didn't you?
I did. I knew before he called it was gone. I'm already getting my purse
in cold
out.
blood.
Yeah. Frame it, because you ain't getting another one from me. I won't lose another bet.
So not only has Jamie got a small stack, he's also got a horrendous seat as well.
Yeah.
With Max, who I assume is really good now. I've seen his sizings, and then he's got Connor, and then he's got Jack Salter. So he might need a cuddle at the break.
Yeah. We also know he had a headache, don't we?
Yeah,
he's wasn't feeling particularly wonderful at the start of the day, so we know he will be trying his best to focus, but sometimes that's difficult when you're not feeling 100% and your chips are sort of, going the wrong direction. Is that?
Hey Dave, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Well, nice to see you in the chat. I'll catch up with you after I finish my commentary. If you're about, are you going to play the main event, Dave? Let me know. Absolute monstrous field, and Friday's always the bigger day, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's supposed that's the busy day. Although now it seems that the all flights are busy.
Everything's a busy day. Yeah.
Yeah.
The draw players in the grand final, please retake your.
So Maxime's come in with an open here, the ace-3 of hearts, Max, until we know differently.
And we've got like 10-15 minutes left of this session, so players will be aware of that. Oh, is it 5?
No, 5 or 7 minutes, 7 minutes-ish, I think. So we've got Max with a nice lot of backdoors here. Backdoor wheel draw, backdoor flush draw, and still an overcard. And James is going to have to just quickly fold.
200, 500, and people are hanging 500. Please do the deal.
He's down tomorrow, Dave. Right, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Yeah, me and Kate are in the mix tomorrow, and Jamie's standing in tomorrow, doing some actually proper graft. Like we've been doing today and yesterday, haven't we? Like we've all been doing.
Yeah.
Bit of graft, old-fashioned, sleeves up.
Yeah. Days we have to set an alarm clock and actually be up and out and grafting. Yeah.
Luckily, we don't have to do it that much, so that's a blessing, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had to. Yeah.
Well, I don't. Usually my alarm's Percy when he wakes up at 6 in the morning. Like.
Yeah.
Jamie's all in now. He's found a spot. Perfectly fine. Obviously, ace-10 off.
Yeah, it's 13.
13 in a touch,
so, yeah.
And he's going to get it through. So far, he is.
Yeah.
David has.
Yeah, nice little pick
he's
up
getting
that.
it through.
Gets him another orbit of, it's paid his blinds, which he's literally going to hit. That's the only thing when you pick it up and you've got to give it straight back. It's a little bit annoying, but it gets through that orbit. So hopefully this next orbit he can find a spot and actually get the double.
Even when you're not playing many hands because of the cards you're getting, you can still learn something from how other people play and take that forward. So you're still getting a little bit of value in future hands against other people if you can pick something up. There's no point in staring into space or bemoaning your luck. Just watch the other hands go down and try and pick something else up off those guys to use when you are in a pot against them.
Oh, it's so important to be focused at the table.
Aware,
and have a, you're absorbing information all the time. Sometimes even subconsciously without, meaning to take note of something. And when you're not involved in a hand, you're still watching players, and you can actually use it against them in future hands that you are involved with them.
Yeah.
You might pick up just the minutest little thing It's actually
This is going to go in.
as
He's
well,
going to rip this in. 100%. Yeah.
Like it.
Jazzy's a very interesting player to me because I think I've put him in a pigeonhole of and then he folds the 4-3 suited on the cut-off. And I was sure he was going to open it, come in for a little min raise.
Might just be Jamie's stack size.
Yes,
though.
for sure, yeah.
The fact that Jamie's just ripped under the gun, he knows that he's aware that he's short.
Yeah,
he's got 13 bigs, he's in there for a big blind. So he's going to be shoving with marginal spots. And he doesn't want to, have to, raise fold and just waste chips. So I don't mind the fact that he just open folded that.
Yeah. If Jazz is watching, thank you for winning the last one in January, buddy, because I had a nice little bet on you on the Sunday. So we got to fill the fridge up at Trig Towers. So thanks very much for that, Jazzy. 3-1 for the Shrewdies in the morning if you're up early enough. And we'll be having a sports book for the final of this coming up on Sunday morning early doors. And there'll be links on Facebook, Twitter, etc. If you want a little punt responsibly on the final day's action, it's going to be massive.
Oh gosh, yeah, it will be.
Might be $250,000 up top, they say. Judging on numbers so far.
John in the chat box, yes, I am going to be playing. I haven't played all of this week. We haven't played any events this week. We've just been here working behind the scenes, hosting the qualifiers for the David A and the Six Max and Heads Up comps yesterday. But I'm going to be playing the main event tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. Look,
got a hand here where Jazzy has raised with the suited King 10. James 3-bets the Queens. Now, we had a dynamic a little while ago where Jazzy had the aces, the same positions. Jazzy had the aces and raised, and James 3-bet the Jack 10 of hearts.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
And then Jazzy came in with the 4-bet and James folded.
It could be that we see Jazzy do the same here in that dynamic.
No, he's just
because of that dynamic, sorry. But he flat calls, bricks the flop.
Backdoor spades working for us. As for Jazzy, and obviously a couple of overcards, but James is always going to bet this flop as the action's played. Especially
because if Jazzy had an ace-X type of holding, then you don't want them just seeing a turn for free on that. It's still a dangerous board for an ace-X. So, yeah, nice pick up there from James.
Richard, no, I've not had a bet this week. I felt all my sports betting's usually on the flat turf season, and that finished in November, so it's just the jump season now, national hunt season, and the all-weather.
Even if it wasn't his season, he ain't had a moment spare this week. We've been running round like good uns. We're on The Apprentice this week.
Oh no! Any winners today? Yes, I've won £1 off Katie. We had a bet on if someone had fold or call early, and I've won £1. So I'm 1 out of 1 this week. £1 profit. Loving it. And now, as a Yorkshireman,
he ain't getting another one from me.
And as a Yorkshireman, I'm putting a nail in it, and I'm keeping my profit. I'm not betting again. No double or quits for you. I'm taking my profit.
Oh dear.
So James Rand's going to come in for an open here for sure with his ace-5 of clubs.
Yeah. David with the King 10 off. I can see him that, but
maybe it's the JB factor that he's on 7.5 again.
Yeah, very true. Can't see the cards.
Jamie's going to jam. Jamie's going to jam. There he goes.
But we don't know he's holding.
This is probably going to get called, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
okay. No,
is it? Oh, he's folded, sorry, yeah. I thought he called I thought he chucked his chips in to call.
Yeah. Mind you, I suppose it's still 7.5k, yeah.
No, we've barely seen any of Jamie's cards, have we?
Jamie is putting them in the box,
yeah,
but I think it must be something with the reader on the box.
Yeah, it's just Jamie's box that's been a bit funny sometimes, but... So he's got a couple of jams through, so he's got a little bit more breathing space for Jamie.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got a few minutes more left on this level. Then you're going to be back with Tower and Jay after the break. Thanks for asking us questions and keeping us busy in the chat. We appreciate it. And good luck if anyone in the chat's playing tonight or tomorrow or coming down here to play.
Yeah, I mean, those that are in the last longer from registering in the online holding tank before it closed. Anyone that's in that, you need to come see us tomorrow before the dinner break, isn't it? To get your last longer patches.
Yes.
And you'll be playing for your 12.50 seat that's completely free. Added value there, as always, by the online team.
So we've got 2 blind hands now, so PK's off again to sort it. Just a few, not teething problems, but just a few little things.
These things happen. Like I said earlier, it's technology. We all rely on it heavily. And
we know what Anthony's has got, don't we? He's got the old 5-6-4 of spades.
Yeah. We end up, I think we've become like almost like entitled that we should be able to have all of this running smooth, but you know,
things happen.
It's technology.
There's wires everywhere.
We're lucky to even have this stream and have it at all. So, and actually, do you know what? It sometimes does your poker good to not see the cards.
Guessing what we've got.
You know, you're sort of sweating it and trying to work out yourself. You can actually kind of pretend you're playing against, you know, what have they got and what would I do here, and trying to see if your reads are matched with cards. I mean, sometimes you don't get to showdown, but you know.
So Max has decided to bet now after he checked back the flop, which I think is a good, fine playing position. 4-way, it's going to check round all the flop, and then on the turning side to try and get some value from his ace.
Delayed C-bet.
And Anthony's looks like he's got a decision to make without knowing his hand.
Now, he could easily have ace-X here as well.
Yeah.
But we have also seen him playing other hands, even under the gun.
Yeah, so even a 9 would
he could have a
surprise you
6-8. He could have a 6-8 suited here. He's very capable of raising that sort of hand.
Jazzy just gets out of the way, so he probably didn't have anything that connected. So Max is going to win another pot. Quite impressed by Max, how he's played so far. You?
Yeah, He's he knows what he's doing.
I'll know who I'm dealing with if I play him in a table 2, or maybe in this tournament later on in day 2. Hopefully. Wouldn't mind winning 250,000 before Christmas, would you? A lot of Christmas prezzies.
No, not at all. I'd like to win that. Would be nice.
20-minute break after the hand in progress.
Someone's going to win it.
Yeah,
so why
someone's
not
going to
us?
have a great Christmas.
Why not us?
Well, about 10 people are, with all the money that's going to be even for 9th and 8th and what have you.
Yeah.
Jazzy's got another nice Broadway ace here, ace-5 of spades. Broadway, wheel, sorry.
One of the nice lower aces kind of thing. It actually plays really well.
Looks like it's going to be dinner break after this hand, so I'm just going to finish this hand and then we're going to bid you adieu. Ladies and gentlemen who's watching.
Not dinner break.
Oh, 20-minute break, sorry, not dinner break. It's our dinner break, isn't it? We're having some dinner.
So, there we go.
It's going to go bet, fold, and we're off ski. So, thanks very much for everyone again, and we'll hopefully see you on the stream if one of us is deep or gets on the table tomorrow. We're going to give you back to Tower and Jay.
And yeah, so 15-minute break. 15-minute break?
15, is it 20 or 15, PK? 20.
Sorry, 20-minute break, and then
back with the main men, Tower and
joined with
Jay.
Others, yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks for having us, and catch you all soon.
Bye.
Helps put a bit of structure in my day as well, planning my sessions and then delivering them. So, but yeah, there's, I mean, with all the study and traveling and everything else, it's a busy enough schedule anyway.
Mm-hmm. And finally, would you do anything differently?
I'd probably employ better bankroll management, but I mean, at the time, I always think any decision that I've ever made, I thought it was the right thing to do at the time. It may not have been on further reflection, but no, I'm pretty happy that I'm certainly happy with how I've managed to do it in the last couple of years, in the last 2 or 3 years for sure.
Mr. Champion, Rich Kellett, Thank you very much for spending an hour with the tower. Rich, thanks.
Okay. See you later.
Welcome to another hour with the tower. We are pleased to be joined this time by one of the guys who plays a circuit, and a lot of the circuit we will be talking about. Over $1 million in lifetime earnings, 8 GUKPT main event finals, and the 2019 Grosvenor Player of the Year. It is the one and only from Castaway, Mr. Tom. No, it's Richard Kellett.
Hello, Tower. Just got my lockdown beard here that everyone might not be accustomed to, but
that is a growth, man. That looks good.
Yeah, well, the pubs opened, didn't they, on Saturday, and I was sort of tempted to go out, but what I made sure that I did is I didn't go for a haircut, so then I didn't want to go out like this, so I managed to fade it for another week.
I tell you what, if Simon Zach watches this, you could be brothers.
Yeah, I was going to do look a bit like Zach. Yeah.
You know what? Absolutely. Hey, we're going to run through what Rich Kellett has done for over the last decade. It's been pretty eventful. And one of the first things we can talk about is that we saw recently you posted on social media about you're in a chess club at school. Now, you're talking to a guy that used to play for Rotherham, by the way, at chess.
Oh, wow.
So now that is a long time ago at school, by the way. Was chess a good base for poker? Is that what you deep thinking?
Absolutely. So in my primary school, in my local village, our head teacher, she was called Mrs. Baxter. She was very, very she was really, really passionate about chess, and it sort of exuded through the whole of the sort of year 6 age groups down to year 3. We were playing and we had a really avid club, and yeah, it just went from there really. Me and my younger sister, we ended up being 2 of the better players, and we ended up representing Lancashire.
Nice.
And we'd even go down to England matches at the Albert Hall, where they play the darts now. We used to play in the Royal Albert Hall, where Ali Pali, where they have the darts finals now every January. And yeah, we sort of got to the stage. I was number 4 board for the number 11, the under 11s in Lancashire, and my sister, I think, was the number 1 board for the under 9s in Lancashire. So we were pretty good, and then obviously we were coming home and we were playing each other and getting better and better. And then it got to a point when we were about 9, 10, 11 where we were too good to play the other children. So in the evenings, this was sort of like, we were at an age as well where we were going to bed at 9 o'clock on a usual night, but instead of that, we sort of we were only playing competitively with other children at weekends. So what we ended up doing was we ended up joining like local men's clubs at like 9 and 10 years old. So you can imagine these were really late nights. We're in these local games. We're going to places like I was from Chorley, so going to places like Leyland, Blackburn, and Burnley, and all over the place, travelling around the northwest. And we were sat in there till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and we were playing against fully grown men who were drinking pints and blowing smoke across the chessboard. So it was it was sort of like the ideal preparation for poker. But at 11 years old, when I went to high school from primary school, it just sort of wasn't cool to play chess anymore. You just couldn't be that kid who was in the library every day. So yeah, I had to get back out on the football field, and I stopped playing then. So I've met some people through poker all around the world who've gone on to be really, really good chess players. But I sort of completely left it alone from 11 years old.
How good could you have been, do you reckon?
I don't know. I definitely felt like I, de- I definitely felt like I had some ceiling, because there's a guy in the local village, a local village to me, who used to really give me a good pasting, and that always brought me back down to earth, sort of thing. So I don't know. But it's leading into the poker thing from chess. The skill set is so similar, because in chess you're thinking 3, 4, 5, 6 moves ahead, and it's exactly the same in poker with your pre-flop, your flop, your turn and river. It's the thought pattern is almost exactly the same, thinking moves ahead. So yeah, the skills are massively transferable. But I mean, I'd love to sort of play now, but you can't really win money, and the games are very time consuming. So it's yeah, I would love to play, but I don't know. Maybe in later life I'll get back into it. I think when I've got a bit more time and there's not so much poker going on all over the place.
Absolutely. Where did you start first playing poker, and how did you learn, or was it just like?
So this was 2005, 2006. I was just in year 11 at high school, and my friend is my best friend, who lived 2 doors down from me, and was really close with my family. He'd just gone to a local sixth form college, and this was obviously a year or two after the Moneymaker thing, and you got Greg Raymer and all. So it was basically the exact point at when professionals started winning the World Series main event every year, to when amateurs started winning every year. So they were. I was in year 11 at high school. They were going to, well, as loosely say, they were going to college. They were just going sitting in the canteen and playing every day, and then they'd spill home at night, and they'd just all be playing around my friend's house. So like I sort of got introduced to it at 15 years old. Yeah, I've just got thrust straight into it with the older lads, really.
Well, we got in at 15, so you could have been the Kelster 15, but
yeah.
2008, before you started playing live, you got a massive result online. You come 5th in the full tilt 750,000 guarantee for 33,000. That was July 2008. What did it feel like winning that much money at that time?
Wow, yeah, because I've just turned 18, and like it was pretty crazy, because I did have a little foray into online poker before I was 18, but this was this account was my own account and everything, and yeah, I hadn't really even I'd played tournaments, and I knew that I had sort of like a winning style in them at this point, but this night was crazy. I'd hardly even played any $215 buy-in tournaments before, and I bought into this one, and it was mad. I ended up getting a big stack, and it was the first time that I'd ever actually stayed up all night, sort of playing poker. So you had a break every 5 minutes past the hour. Well, actually, it wasn't even a synchronized break. This was pre-synchronized break, so it would have been whenever the tournament started, an hour play, then a 5-minute break. So this one, I just remember going to the wash basin every hour to splash some water on my face, and I wasn't tired, because I was pumped full of adrenaline. But just my little routine. I'd been probably the longest I'd ever played a tournament up until that point, or been in a tournament, was maybe 4 or 5 hours play, and this one was we're now 13 hours into this one, and I'm just going to the toilet, flicking some water on my face. Yeah, and it was really exciting. And I was thinking I was chip leader 2 tables left, and it was like $180,000 for the winner, I think, and that's just madness, because I think I started the day with $400 in my poker account or something. So that was definitely what got me a massive taste for online tournaments, for sure.
Did that go straight to a bankroll, and let you play bigger tournaments?
Sort of, but then I was very Yeah, I was very, very naive in my early days. So I just used to I just thought I was the best player ever then. And then I would often go and play like high stakes cash games and things, and like experimented in that way. I managed to withdraw a chunk of it, but yeah, like I was very I sort of loved just to jump in at the deep end, and yeah, definitely had a different career path to most when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, after you'd had that nice score, you started to venture into the live poker. Your first Hendon mob was back in 2008. Can you remember what it was?
So when I just turned 18, I used to go in the closest to casino to where I lived in Chorley
Yeah.
at the time, which was Bolton Casino. And that was actually back in the day, that used to have some amazing cash games. They'd have like a 2-2 game every evening at the Grosvenor. That was actually where the first ever GUKPT was, wasn't it, Bolton?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the first ever one.
Yeah, and like the games in there used to be crazy. Like I couldn't even dream for games in there that these days. But yeah, I used to have a little go into there. Me and my friend would go down, and we saw it advertised on the internet as like a £3 rebuy tournament. Anyway, so we went down. Just thinking, okay, well, we're going to go and play this tournament. It seems quite cheap. It's only £3. Anyway, we realised about 5 minutes into the tournament that £3 actually gets you one set of chips, and that lasts about 5 minutes because everybody's just going all in, every hand, rebuy. So yeah, we opted for the freeze out tournaments then, and I was having a little bit of success online at the time. So like, I actually was playing a lot bigger online when I was 18 than I was in the live ones. And I did a little bit of research, and I found out there was a place, Casino 36 in Stockport, which had some games. And they were they were £50 rebuy tournaments and £100 rebound tournaments, and they had a really big cash game there. So yeah, it was weird, but I went down there, and I was trying to get in at the front door, and they were sort of saying, yeah, you've got to be 21 really for this one. Anyway, I ended up on some sort of technicality. They ended up letting me sign up at 18, so I was just forever known as the kid in there. I was like just by a mile, and I was playing every night with people like Ali Milou and everyone. So yeah, I've known those guys really, really well for over 10 years now, and that's sort of my first exposure to the poker circuit.
You went to Gala at Leo's. Second for 1,200.
Right, yeah, I remember it. It was a gala at the Liverpool.
That's right, yeah.
It was like a Sunday evening, the last tournament of the Gala Poker Tour. Yeah,
that's right.
I remember it
well. February 2009, you had another big score on Full Tilt. You must have liked Full Tilt at the time. The Sunday Brawl.
It was by far
third for 40,000.
Yeah, the Sunday Brawl, I think that one was.
That's right.
Yeah, it was by far the best, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would probably say the same. It's by far the best poker site ever. Just in terms, like, people just used to go on to rail the cash games. Like, you didn't need, a lot of people were just on there not even playing. You had all Phil Ivey and Tom Dwan sat, and Gus Hansen and Patrick Antonius sat with all the big money in the cash games, and it was just yeah, for me, like it was the greatest poker site ever, and I just really liked playing that on there. Yeah.
Yeah, you scored for 40,000, but the following month you played an EPT. Is that what you bankrolled yourself into the EPT with?
Rodney Robinson for a 250.5, 456. Capital. Rodney Robinson, 250.5, 456.
In fact, it works, ladies and gentlemen. We've just had. I've had a sauna, I've had a jacuzzi, I've had a bath, I've had an hour. What you done?
I got some food and a coffee. Watched the first half of the Spurs.
We're laughing because it's worked.
It's worked.
Because Roy Cropper's back at the table in seat number 1, but it's not Roy Cropper anymore. Who is it?
It's Rapinda Chima.
Yeah!
He signed the GDPR.
Yes, he's had mates texting him. You've been called Roy Cropper on there. Get it signed. Sign away. Thank you very much. Rapinda, you're in seat number 1. Who else?
In 2 is going to be Oliver White. In 3 is Jamie Lowe. 5, Chris Carricu. In 6 is Ivry Kuderinsky. In 7, Richard Aspey. In 8, Ewan McNicholas. And in 9, JP Kelly. Nice little table coming up.
JP. Ewan McNicholas, this is his second bullet. This is bullet number 2.
Gully says boo, he wanted Cropper for the rest of the evening. But we're back, nice little break for us. We got a little superstar coming in this session as well, wanted to do some comms and...
Back already? Back already? Who have we got?
Tom Hall.
Tom the man.
Tom Hall's coming in to do some comms.
Another guy that talks a lot of sense. Another guy that talks a lot of sense, Mr. Tom Hall. So we're going to split. Comms. Jay is going to have another 45 minutes, and then we'll come back and
give Tower an hour off for the Tower.
We'll swap it around with myself, and you'll have Jay and Tom. But Tom's coming in. He says, "Can I do a session?" We of course you can. Of course you can. So we are on. Is that Richard Ashby? Oh my days, ladies and gentlemen, I had a retirement for one night only. One of the biggest cash game players in the world, Richard Ashby. Cash for millions. Cash for absolute chunks. Used to play 100, 200 online back in the day. Massive player, Richard Ashby. Good to see him. Good to see him. So we are ready for the next session. Have we got any notable eliminations in the last 2 hours?
Well, I'm not sure if Katie and Trig were running you through them, but I can run through the bust out since after the dinner break, so last session as well. After the dinner break, we lost Ben Windsor, Victor Alukin, Michael O'Dwyer, Gary Whitehead, Jack Salter, David Hay, Ewan McNicholas, who's on our table now, re-entry, Victor Alukin again, Cedric Raffi, Joseph Maxa, Daniel Moran, John Riley, Phil Clark, Iron Lightbourne, Tom Hall, Majid Nadeem, Victor Alukin, Leon Campbell, Rapinda Chima, Neil van der Meer, Thomas Winston, Andy Back, Albert Sapiano, Phil Clark, Gary Whitehead, and that is it up till now, Tower. So we've lost a lot.
Ionis Barbos is watching from Greece. Quick wave to Greece. Hi Greece. Hope it's lovely in the afternoon and nice and pleasant in the evening. Enjoy watching and enjoying the live stream. Ionis, hope you are well over in Greece and enjoying watching the grand final. We have a little bit of, excitement. Not excitement, but this could potentially. There's 161 runners so far.
If we get three,
I reckon if we get 200 today, I reckon the millball's on, you know. If we get to 200 runners today, we could hit £1 million in the prize pool for the first time ever. And you'll hear me at Westminster if we do. Amazing. Good evening, Whitty. Richard Whitmore. Good evening, sir.
So straight into the action. Oliver White opening the ace-10. Ewan defending his option with the 8-6. Oliver can go tiny on this board. And Oxford just south of third. And Ewan can't do anything with the 8-6. Gets out of the way. Oh, he's already got the patch on, Tower. You've already got him patched up.
We have interviewed him, slapped it on him. Chuffed is in the house. He is indeed, Richard Ashby. He can play. Originally hailing from Watford. That's down south.
That's near me, Watford, not long. 35 minutes.
Big, don't chuffed it. Big cash player. Not so many tournaments in his time. Not too many tournaments, but he does cash a lot at the World Series whenever he used to go out there. A lot.
So, Yuri here with the King Jack and the cut-off. Nice one to open once folded to us. And Oxford 1200. And Rich here, Ace King on the button. Snap free bet from him. Makes it 4.5. So veering towards the 4x sizing. And Yuri here out of position, King Jack off. Might just choose to let this one go. Probably would pill the suited variety tower, but this is more than likely going to go into the muck here. Unless he thinks Rich is really light in this spot, might small percentage of the time if we have some sort of read or think that Rich is free betting our cut-off opens too much, might incorporate the 4 bet in with this particular holding. More often than not, expect it to just be going into the muck here. Yuri here in seat 6. And Ewan is back. Yeah, he's back. Got back yesterday, Brad, I think.
Ewan is back. He's also back in, because he was eliminated on his first bullet. Back yesterday, sat him down, quick interview with lad.
Imagine that million prize pool, 250k-ish up top, like, oh, be unheard of.
Yeah, it has, absolutely. Definitely unheard of. Never happened before. I think this year's the year that we are potentially would think that this would be the only time we would hit it. Obviously, not much going on around Europe, around the country. Places could open up again next year, but this year, this Millwall is definitely on, I think.
So your ace-9 should be opening this one in the hijack once folded to us. Good enough to open. He's coming in shortly, Brad. He's just he left the casino once he busted, and he's coming back. He said about 15 minutes, about 5-10 minutes ago, so it shouldn't be long.
The Pender in seat number 1 makes it up. So we're in 3-way to the flop. Jack 9 Jack.
Yeah, nice flop here for Yuri with the ace-9. 2-pair top kicker. Expect him to be continuing this one fairly often, Tower, but he's opted to check, and Ewan sitting here on the button with the 10-8 of clubs, and Ewan will have plenty of Jack X here on the button tower. King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10, Jack 9 suited, these type of holdings. And fires from 1.7 into 5.2, so just a smidge south of third from Ewan. And Yuri here, probably just going to check call Tower. We're checking this on this flop. I'm assuming he's going to check call. Ewan will have plenty of Jack X calling on the button.
Who had the parachute jump? Stand at the table last time we saw
I can't remember.
Who was it?
I know you're on about, Tower, but I can't remember the name.
Just about ready to jump out of the plane.
So, action on Ewan here with the 10-8. Interesting to see whether he is going to opt to double barrel this spot. Got to think about the hands that Yuri's going to check call on this board. Like over pairs, aces, kings and queens might be check calling. Maybe some traps in there with some Jack X, maybe some King Queen, King 10, these type of holdings, but this 9 on the river A lovely river card for Yuri, gives him a boat, especially if we're making the assumption that Ewan is going to continue barreling most of his jack-X here, so this is just always going to be the best hand for us here with our ace-9. But the thing is here, Tal, this is an interesting spot, because what are we targeting here? Hoping in hijack off of Ewan's effective stack, what he had around starting 20k, blinds 3-6, no 2-5 the blinds, so yeah, I guess Ewan may some frequency flat 10s, but that's probably the only hand that we're going to get value from here. So we might actually see Yuri check this spot down. I'd actually love to see it if he can find a check here with the ace-9. Because we've got to think about hands. What are we ever getting called by? Like now the 8s through 5s. Assuming they're probably going to fold flop fairly often anyway. But I can't actually come up with any hands that we're trying to target here on this 9 river. So I might lean more towards checking this the way this hand's played. Like, what's going to call us here? Like, we're going to target some ace highs, even though we've got an ace in our hand, making ace highs less likely. Like, Ewan's more likely to have a king 10, king queen, queen 10 like hand in this spot, the way the hand's played. And I actually love this from Yuri now I think about it. This size, what he's gone, 1.6 to try and induce here, perhaps from Ewan, and try and induce a raise from Ewan in this spot. And Ewan actually thinking about heroing this with 10 high, thinking that maybe we can beat some counterfeited pairs, 5s through 8s, the hands I mentioned that he would probably fold on the flop, but Yuri may elect to check call them when they're in a heads-up situation, closing the action. So Ewan thinking about heroing this one off with 10 high, because probably doesn't expect ace high to call too often unless it's like an ace 10 of spades type hand in this situation. But he's actually thinking about hero here with 10 high tower, simply because 8s through 5s. Yeah, 8s through 5s get counterfeited, and doesn't expect Yuri to ever go this size as with a boat. But this is actually, I said I'd expect Yuri to check this spot, because what we're getting called by the way this hand's played. But opting for this size is actually lovely now I think about it. This is really, really nice from him. Probably wouldn't have done this at the time, but now I really think about the hand, it's really, really lovely size. And Ewan pays it off with 10 high, and he's going to see the boat. And 10 high hero call gone wrong. I understand the thought process completely there from Ewan, and unfortunately it looks like a hero if he makes it correctly, but in that scenario.
Wish I had it, but the snap is there. Small bet.
Trig! Have we got somebody coming in? Yes. Have we? Oh my days, we've got royalty coming in.
Tom.
Semtex, you'll be able to get a chance to see him and to say hello to him and everything. Ooh! We've got poker royalty coming in. Jay's going to disappear and he's going to come back as soon as he's... Oh, lad, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please.
The one and only Tower.
How are you, young man? Semtex has been waiting for an hour.
The Semtex.
Semtex
he's on the rail.
He's in the rail.
Semtex.
There he is.
He's about to explode.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good.
Pleasure to be here. I forgot I'd be on camera, but
you?
here I am.
Don't worry about that.
No. But,
glad you're here.
I'm on to the whole world. I forgot about that.
How has the year been?
It's been pretty good so far. I've been... well, lockdown's been interesting for me, to be honest. It's been pretty eye-opening in terms of perspective.
Yeah.
I appreciate being at home a lot more, and now that I'm back on the road a bit, It's very tiring. It really is. I mean, you're on the road yourself a lot, and it quickly runs you down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. What would you like? What would you like? The coat?
My warmer.
The warm.
sorry.
He's got to go and sit outside and have a cig and go and get some fresh air.
The reason I've got to sit outside because they're not showing the Spurs game anywhere but the loft.
Get yourself out.
how did you find lockdown, Tower?
It was strange.
Yeah.
It really was. It was completely strange to us as well.
Did you do a lot of sports betting?
I didn't. Not really. No, not really. Obviously, a lot of it has stopped, and
Yeah, true.
the funds. Obviously, the funds weren't coming in. Like obviously when we're out on the road working.
Yep.
So we just had to wait for the. Phone call
Yep.
to say, guys, honestly, it's we're on its way back, and obviously this year, the way it has come back.
Yeah.
And we've seen all the faces travelling all around the country and going to places where you wouldn't expect people to go. Luton for a week, everybody was there. Coventry for a week, everybody was there.
Yeah.
The festival feels back.
Yeah, I would thoroughly agree. I think I was thinking this the other day that the community feels almost stronger with the GUKPT now as it did in the UKPT days.
Yeah.
And that's going back 7-8 years
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
And I feel like it's the community's doing very well. It's quite healthy.
Yeah. Obviously,
the numbers are great.
we can't travel nowhere near as many places as we can. The EPT has obviously been cancelled in Prague, so
Yep.
they've not restarted yet. We understand you can't get to Vegas as easy as what we would like to do. So when these places open up, obviously people will spread their wings and go to places where they'd prefer to go. So, but this year, UK and the GUKPT has just completely embraced it, and all the players have embraced it as well. And like you said, it's going back 7-8 years to
Yes, I think so.
the festival feel.
Yes.
And you see people stood at the bar that you've not seen for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
And people coming down and they're not leaving when they bust the tournament. They like hang around to whatever, be social.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere is different, and it is.
We've even got Chuffy on the table.
Chuffy? No, the Chuffy,
The
PLO god.
Yes.
PLO god Chuffy.
This guy's an absolute legend.
I mean, he's a real legend. We talk about 7 or 8 years. Chuffy goes back 15
Absolutely,
years. Yeah.
When the boom of online started.
And then we'll talk about Ewan, who's been around for
12 months?
Yeah, about 18 months. But that is the beauty of the game.
Absolutely.
You can just come back in, take as much time on and off as you like, and the tour's still there waiting for you.
You obviously play a lot online because obviously people still call you Jabra.
Yes.
And obviously you still reply to it and respond to it because that you're pretty well known as
It
that.
sticks in my head, yeah, and like a lot of it I think is because I have history of playing against nearly everyone.
Yes.
Like over time. Similar thing with Trig as well.
Yeah.
Trig has played. Well, both of us have played in a ridiculous
Have you found with the
tournaments.
festivals being so close together this year that you've not really had time for online? Or is it a choice that you've not played too much online, or when the festivals start to spread out a little bit rather than every week there's something on? Because we've crammed it into like a space of like 4 months.
It's a good question. My mindset is just that like I just do what I feel like doing. Mm-hmm. Like if I don't feel like going on a trip, I don't feel guilty about not going on it, and if I don't want to play online, I don't play online. Simple as that. I very rarely miss a Sunday, but Sunday's actually exciting, and a lot of days of the week online aren't that exciting. It's closer to work than it is to than live poker is.
Yeah.
Because we got Chris on the table. Nice. I should be following the action, but. I'm weaving my tails.
I think it's only because you can't hear Chris, that's all.
Yeah, he's a talker. He's got 40k, that's cool. I like to see Chris with chips.
I remember as UKPT about 4 or 5 years ago, Chris talked day 2 to absolute death. Made the final and never said a word.
Yeah.
At all.
Wow.
And it completely changed his game.
Wow.
It was really weird to watch.
That's almost mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's like, I mean, we all get a little bit frustrated, and Chris does too, but 95 to 99% of the time, he is the life of the table.
Yes.
He really is.
Yeah,
he is. He is a star, actually. So we had a bet call on the flop here. Pretty standard so far. We got Chufty, obviously. We got exactly what I was just talking about. We got old school versus new school.
Yep. And weirdly, Ewan will have no idea who Richard Ashby is.
Probably not.
No.
But that means he needs to do his studies. You know, he needs to get on the interwebs and look up like who are the UK legends. Oh, Chufty's in there. Right.
So do not bluff into quads was a quote of yours.
Yeah, I did say that. I don't want to talk about that hand on stream for sure. On the surface, I punted extremely hard. But, you know, you have some ideas in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, But yeah, I'm not going to go into that one. I've done 2 bullets today. I'm done. Just come back tomorrow and restart fresh. Right?
Yeah. Is it a case of when this this week's finished? Is it a case of have a couple of weeks and recharge?
Yeah, no more live poker for the rest of the year. I don't think. I was going to go to Prague, but now it's cancelled, and frankly, I'm grateful. I can't really be bothered.
No. And then we do start again.
But the tour has been, I mean, really successful this year. The numbers are just really.
They have been insane. We were all obviously everybody's been. You try and work out a figure in your head of the number of runners and the prize pool, and we're saying, is it achievable to even hit 1 million this week? And everybody's going, well,
I believe so.
It's nearly impossible. But then you need 556 runners, and we said if you hit 200 today, you have a chance.
I think that's a tough. 556 is going to be hard to reach, but I think it's possible. I would say that's on the upper end of an estimate.
Yeah. Well, at the moment there's 162.
I would go around 500. 162, that's a good start. But tomorrow is going to be Ramajam compared to this, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And you're definitely playing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just try and get here for 12 o'clock tomorrow. I got here for 20 past 2, something like that today, which is fine. I was up kind of late last night.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I don't feel like playing, I just don't feel the need to.
Yeah.
We've got Chufty here after a check on the flop, leading into Rapindo with King Jack up and down, medium flush draw. Now it's kind of an interesting river spot because Rapindo is very likely to have like Ace King, Ace Jack, maybe like Ace 9 with a diamond. And what have we got here? I can't see. Ace 9 with a diamond, maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I think Ace King. Yeah, I mean Ace High is the most logical hand for him to have there, but Richard actually has like kind of bad cards to bluff with as well. I was interested to see what he'd do there because it would be a very reasonable bluff, but also you have kind of the wrong cards to have in your hand to be bluffing with. You don't want to block his missed draws.
Yeah.
So, but you do block a flush. But is that really that relevant? Is he going to have checked back a flush draw and made a flush? Not very likely. But they're very likely to have ace high. So I can get behind a give up and I can get behind a bluff there, to be honest.
So we're just tuning in. Thanks to Rick Trigg and to Katie Swift for the last session, and we've got Tom Hall for this session with me for the first half an hour, and then Jay's coming back in.
Shout out to Katie. I like what she was saying. I mean, I know Triggs. Triggs got infinite history, but Katie was really. She was talking a lot of sense last 2 levels. It's good. The back and forth between them. It was. She's showing like quite a bit of progress, I think, and everyone can make progress.
Yeah.
Everyone. You know, you don't just finish a day of poker and I'm like, oh, I'm good. I can't improve at all. Like, there's always room to improve.
Yeah. And the amount of talking online these days is just unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, you get to like, you can build up to a 9 out of 10, but that difference between a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 is like insane amount of work. The difference between like a really elite regular and this doesn't include myself because I'm talking about the super high roller circuit, for example, you could see the difference, how scary good these guys are. Looks like a fairly standard hand, and we've got JP Kelly.
We have in seat 9.
I mean, this is like another like absolute legend. Talking about UKPT. JP Kelly was always on UKPT.
Double bracelet winner,
and he was big successful before UKPT anyway. He was around way before me on the circuit. Another legend of the game that a lot of newer players may not recognise at all, frankly. The ones who did really well in 5 or 10 years ago, they don't play as much because they're comfortable now. It makes sense, you know, and
absolutely.
They're older.
Moved away, had families, got themselves all nice and settled.
Real life, you know, like that comes after the success usually.
Remember when JP walked into Manchester with the likes of Jake and Matt Perrins and Jamie Sykes and all that? They were like One Direction walking in.
They were all UKPT regulars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Chris is saying something, that's for sure.
Not as boisterous.
We are now taking entries at the cash prize for tonight's satellite. This is £215. It's a cash out satellite for the grand final. £215, you start with 10,000 chips. As soon as you reach 100,000 chips, you've won a seat and you leave the tournament. Again, at 9 o'clock tonight, cash out satellite for the grand final. £215, 10,000 chips. As soon as you get to 100,000 chips, you've won a seat. If you're interested in buying it, make it with the cash test. Ali 10 head for a 1-2, Ali 10 head for a 1-2.
So back to the action. Tom Hall with us for this session.
For the love of the game.
Absolutely.
I love being here. Let me have a quick read of the chats. See who's needling me.
Nobody yet.
Chef Brad.
Oh, he talks to himself. He talks to himself.
Yeah, we love Chef Brad in here.
Absolutely. And Dembele?
I mean, anyone who's got connections with Ramsey is like is an OG in my book. You know what I mean? Like, 3-4 by JP. Limps in. Hits an ace, comes off on the turn. Good card for the limper. Gives it a stab.
M10 Dembele. Tom, being the absolute gentleman that he is, offered to exchange his £5 English note for your Scottish £5 note, as the waitress refused to accept to buy my coffee.
Yeah, you know.
Well, there you go.
What an absolute star I am. I would have done it in a heartbeat, and I'd do it again. But Asifo legend.
I still don't understand when it's legal tender.
I know.
How they can still refuse.
Yeah, I know.
If you try and use a £50 note anywhere else but London, they stare at you as if it's like, what's that?
I think you just was so programmed to see like when they brought in the new notes, you know, and they're clear.
Yeah.
I'm sure at first people looked at them, they were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the euro. Chofty. Not showing us his cards.
No, seat 7s, I don't know if he's realised he's going to stick them in the box. Simon should be saying to the dealer, get him in the box!
He's got the Raiders hat on. You seen that stadium go up?
That means he's been to Vegas.
Yeah. I've just been past it recently. It's gone up bloody quick, I tell you.
I was in 2019, the last time I was there before lockdown. The frame was there, and they actually had the first Las Vegas Raiders shop open.
Right.
And they had a live stream of the looking over the building works and the countdown clock.
Really?
To when it was supposed to be officially opened.
I didn't see that.
Very interesting.
I did drive past it a couple of years ago and saw like the makings.
Frame,
yeah.
Yeah, the frame itself.
JP gets a squeeze through. Didn't get to see any cards, sadly.
Yeah, the game in Vegas just sounds insane.
It's full every week. It's so big. Bruce Buffer's there. You know,
Really?
from the UFC,
Yeah, I know.
announcing the players
Shuffle up
on.
and deal. He does as well, doesn't he? Sometimes, yeah.
Change your deck from the man. Yeah, announcing the Raiders onto the gate. It just sounds insane.
One thing I like about these sports teams coming to Vegas is the community grows from that.
Yeah.
Like the general Vegas, the normal people in Vegas, the working people, the taxi drivers, the people who work at the diners, they have something to root for, and they come together as a community more. It bonds people having similar interests, of course. So Vegas grows every year, and I like it a lot more. It becomes a lot more like normal, you know, not just the Strip. And,
what do you think about the World Series moving on to the Strip?
It's a nightmare.
I actually think it's awful.
Yeah, it's a real. I'm getting anxiety thinking about being on the Strip. Full stop. It's you feel like you're trapped there after like 2 or 3 days. Like if you're outside the Rio on the west side, even slightly, you can get a rental car. You can go and do normal living. Yeah. You could go see grass.
It's also the people that obviously the locals as well. There's a 10,000 car seated car park. There's a car park for 10,000 cars.
Yep.
There's nothing like that on the Strip at all.
That's probably the best thing about the Rio. I think I said this to you. In a year's time, everyone's going to be like, "Oh man, I missed the Rio. It was so easy to just drive in."
It's going to be interesting next year. That is for sure.
Asifo, would you shove 16 bigs of Queen 10 off ever for value? Probably not.
That was Chef Brad.
James says he's asking useless questions, but I can't see.
The question was, only when you learn it, is the straddle the ante after the big blind? The straddle's not an ante. The straddle.
Well, we're playing with a big blind ante. If you're not familiar with that, it's the equivalent of everyone putting in an ante, but one person does it for the table, and it just goes around with the big blind. Essentially, it's just to speed things up.
Yep. Don't think there's too many complaints about it now at all, is it?
No, it definitely smooths things over a bit. There's a few little things I would change, but with any change, like any change that's made, there's going to be pluses and minuses almost always. Like.
Oliver White, 71,000.
Man, I'd love to have 71,000.
Was it a bad day? Was it an unlucky day?
No, I just kind of dusted it, to be honest. The first bullet, I went absolutely wild and just completely dusted it, just gone. Second bullet, just straight line down to 0 chips, basically. No, just not winning any parts, not really. Just no good spots, no real good hands, bad composure on my part, to be honest. Just 2 hours of misery, you know. But that's the game, you know. I feel very, very comfortable right now with live poker, considering we've been away from it for so long, actually. All right, so Rapinder's got 6s, hijack against early position. I expect him to just make a call. You can actually 3-bet this sometimes. It sounds wild, but I think I have seen this get 3-bet in some data. The reasoning behind 3-betting these medium pairs, even though the positions are kind of tough, is that when it comes a board with a 6 on it,
like that,
let's say the board came 5, 6, 7, your 3-betting range would almost never hit 5, 6, 7. And if you start 3-betting with these 5, 6s, 7s sometimes, for example, then your opponent, it means that you can have any board, you can hit any board, basically. Ewan's gone for a check call here, love it. Honestly, you're already hating life when you bet 2,000, because it's not huge sizing, but it's reasonably big.
Another check from Ewan.
Expect a check fold from Ewan, 35,
Absolutely.
And it's annoying because you don't want to be seen as check folding top pair on stream. You don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to look exploitable, but like, what you really think you're ahead there? You're just pretty dead usually.
So you are back in again tomorrow?
Yeah, go once again tomorrow.
Good lad.
Mr. Gullymath.
Quick scan, see if we've got any eliminations from around the room. See what's happening.
I mean, he's got a set, Asifo. Of course he's putting money in. Everything on this trip so far, this venue, you know, the GUKPT London has been insane. The turnout.
Yeah.
The PLO 1K blew my mind.
153.
Unbelievable. Like, I knew there'd be re-entries and you know, madness at the start, but like 153 in a 1K.
Yeah.
Like, that's way bigger than any of the 200s, right? Or like
Absolutely.
similar.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned to me the other day, they were saying there's a lot of 4, 5, 6 PLO private games now.
Right. Okay.
So 1K might be way more appealing to a lot of people than 200.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get away from their cash game for a 200, but for a 1K, with 50k up top nearly, for one night. That was incredible. Asifa, like, I think I do like his turn bet. The board is like ace 8-6 turn 10. I'm not like too worried about them making a gut shot or something, but also they're very likely to have an ace when they check call the flop, and they are going to fold to weak ace X. But I still think you want to build the pot, and I think if you want to bluff this situation at all, you need to have these really strong hands in there betting as well. I don't think we're going to get like a raise in on the river, for example. If Ewan block bet the river for a small sizing, I don't think he's going to be able to call a raise anyway. So I think you just start barreling off. Oliver's coming in with the ace queen of hearts. Good looking hand. The reader's being a bit dodgy today, but you know, we can speculate. It's not bad. Oh, Ewan's got ace queen as well. He's in a bit of a. He could shove pre here, but I think you can call because of the early position raise. If the raise had come from late position, you'd be making a mistake by just calling for sure. But I think because this gets to early position, it seems reasonable. But I personally would have shoved. I think Ewan maybe was probably on the fence.
We'll be chopping this a lot of the times.
Yeah, going to get a free roll for Oliver here. Ewan's got to check raise this, I think.
Yeah.
I think it would be a mistake to not check raise.
He has checked and Oliver has bet.
I can't see what Oliver's sizing is right now. It looks like 1800. Okay. So Ewan's stacks are. I think he's going to go 4500 sort of sizing. You want to potentially keep him in there with his Jack 10, 10, 9. I think he's done it 45. 5k. Okay. Anything in that ballpark. You don't want to shove. You don't want them to just fold jacks. You want to put them in a spot where they can call with a lot of worse hands. Oliver's in an interesting spot. If you shove, they fold all their random, their gut shot bluffs, for example. A hand like 10-7, which would be a great hand to check raise. So I kind of like a call.
I think he's moved all in. He has the triangles in, and Ewan will be calling for ace queen.
Seems fine to me as well.
Yeah. Oliver's got the redraw.
He's got the back doors.
He's got the backers. But would like to chop it right now. He would like to chop it right now.
Chuffy and JP Kelly. Wow. Honestly, yeah.
A lot of it. Let's chop it up. In the meantime, we on the outer tables we've lost Raggy, James Clark, Big TR, Trevor Reardon, Michael Shepherd, Dahi Dwee and Kelly Halliott. Kenny Halliott has just been eliminated, last one out, 164.
Oh no, they all busted.
They bust.
Oh no, I like all those guys.
They're the last 5 to bust. 164.
Big TR.
Yes, come
Legend.
back. Come back. Unfortunately, was quite ill during
was he?
During lockdown. Yeah.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
He is back at the table.
He looked alright when I saw him around here. Yeah. I mean, obviously I haven't seen him in 2 years or whatever. But
he is feeling well.
Nice.
But he wasn't. But he is.
I like Trevor. He's got a good heart, and he's like,
Yeah.
he just has fun. He doesn't take anything personally at the table at all. He's just a good. He's just a nice person to play with in terms of just pleasant, you know.
Yeah, indeed.
Pocket sevens with Chufty. We get to see him this time. Ewan. He's going to shove him. He's shoving. He's pushing them all in over the line.
He is.
He's shoving. Just the posture, like.
that was just solely. That was brilliant. We've not seen the hand.
JP is going all in here as well, obviously. Soul Ace King. We're gonna see a fold from Chufty unless Chufty really feels like gambling.
Yeah.
He's a PLO player and they do love gambling. Yeah, good fold. It looks like he's got ace queen or ace jack. If he's got ace queen, this is kind of what I was saying. If you're against a later position raise, out of position, you just rip it in. Queen 10 suited. Yep, I like the shove.
Queen 10.
25 big blinds versus the button competent player. You can call, you can shove. Either way seems good. Can we get a chop here? Some hearts. Double gut shot for Ewan. Interesting card.
King or a 9 needed for Ewan.
Or a queen.
Can't it?
Not there.
No.
Ewan's probably going to do the same thing as me. Just buy in again tomorrow. That would be the smart play here.
Yeah. Halfway through the day, you bust twice, you're not feeling the best. Ewan McNicholas.
You don't want to get into this funk of rebuying the same day. That's my mindset anyway. I mean, the smaller the buy-in, the more comfortable I feel just keeping on reloading, of course. But like, when there's another day tomorrow and you get to play 200 bigs from the start, and right now you'd be buying in 40 deep, which is still very playable. Just take the night off.
That's it. Not in the right place. Feeling it. Back tomorrow, Ewan.
If this was the only day one, fire away.
Back in.
Fire away. Yeah. Straight back in, no question. It's a great tournament as well. We got any chip leaders? Who's crashing out there?
I've not seen the chip counts. I don't think PK got any chip counts on. Nope, they're the 25s and deep stack. So plenty to play next year.
Plenty to play.
We've got the 25s and deep stacks coming back. You're at Shrewsbury?
Yeah, I'm from Shrewsbury, that's correct.
Down in Shrewsbury. So, what would your local be?
GUKPT Shrewsbury. My local is probably Coventry.
Is it Hawkston Park, the golf course?
Oh, I don't know about
I think Hawkston Park's near Shrewsbury.
We've got
I think that's pretty nice.
We've got a Bannatynes.
Oh,
yeah,
very
with
nice.
A golf club
Time
attached, I think. Yeah, I'm familiar with that tower. That's all me, Bannatynes. I'm there all the time.
Time to relax and enjoy yourself and chill out.
Rapinda, he is 3-betting Chris. I believe Chris raised with 9-7 suited, JP flatted with the ace queen suited, and Rapinda's coming for a squeeze. I'm pretty interested to see what JP will do here. I like a call. The thing is,
into the satellite today, you will start with a 10,000 chip stack. As soon as you reach 100,000 chips, you have won the seat into the grand final.
JP assumes. Sorry.
That's alright, we can speak over him.
Okay. Well, JP could assume that if he shoved all in, that Rapinda would never call with worse than ace queen. But also, there's enough chips in the pot already that shoving would be very profitable. So I like a call because it's live poker and you can kind of feel out what might be going on later streets as well. Online I might just rip it in there. Rapinda's decided to bet again for protection. Very small if you look at this. So he squeezed to 4.5. He bet 2.5 on the flop and 2.5 on the turn. And frankly, I'm fine with protecting your hand. I was wondering how JP would react. I would have check raised very small, to be honest. I don't know what to think. It's pretty. It's not a very common spot. But would you really think a player with kings or aces, or even ace queen, would bet 2,500 on the turn? Almost never. And with ace queen, you're not really scared of that many river cards coming off. So I'd probably just go for a clicky little raise. But this is live poker, and JP maybe, you know, he's got his reasons for stuff too. He's extremely experienced. Right. I would have liked to see him think a bit more, I think, because it was such a small bet. It was very unusual bet, but it worked out for Rapinda very well, actually. Go on, Chris. Jamie folds ace-4 suited under the gun. That's noteworthy if I was, you know, looking for information. If this was if this was a very, like, let's say this was day 3, and I had someone watching the stream for me, because you probably should at that point, it's going to make you free money, then that would be pretty noteworthy, I would say.
Well, Chris is definitely in the hand because he initially raised. So I don't know why we got rid of his cards, but we have.
Yeah. And
So
we've
raise
seen
to
a flat
1100.
from... this is confusing. Yeah, the graphics are pretty off right now.
They are, unfortunately.
I believe we've got
he
raise from Chris.
folded Chris's cards in under the gun, or first to act, and he's missed the initial raise.
Chris is getting squeezed on again. He's not going to like this. Nobody does. I mean, it's pretty grim when you have to keep raise folding.
So
Okay.
the graphics will reappear with the correct 2 players in the pot.
I think what happened is Chris has opened,
Yeah.
Chufty's flatted,
Yeah.
JP flatted, Rapinda is squeezed, and only Chris folded. Both the OGs called. So the pot is going to be about 16,000, and Rapinda is going to be the first to act.
8, 10, 2.
Now let's say Rapinda's got ace king here. You're kind of hating life.
Yeah. Well, Chuffed is in.
It looks like Rapinda's got exactly ace king.
But not.
Maybe he's got 9s, but I reckon he might not squeeze 9s. He wants to call because Chufty can have.
Is this like the ace king with the ace king with the ace?
I just think a dry ace king, maybe no club. Like, it's the most logical hand here. I think, and you want to call because you actually kind of don't want to have a club here. You want your opponent to have a worse ace-x of clubs, so then you dominate him when you have ace-king. But then you're ahead of queen-jack and jack-9 suited possibly as well. He has called.
He has called. To see the 10 jack.
If he's got 9s, it looks like he might have 9s. It looks like he's got 9s from that look on his face.
So that's why you do what you do. Absolutely, just called it.
See, it's a lot easier from this side of the booth, though. You know?
You'd be sitting there thinking exactly the same.
Maybe, but would I be able to summon that comfortably to the front of my mind? You know, like there's so many other things going on while you're playing. Little elements, things that you're distracted by.
Yeah. So Rapinda with the 9s correctly called by Mr. Tom Hall, absolutely insanely perfect. As Bust and Richard Ashby.
Let's keep it real. I mean, it's a disgusting spot for the 9s.
Yeah.
Like you almost never have a better hand, because if you had better than a 10, you would have definitely bet the flop. So you're left with ace king and 9s, kind of. So I think he might have made a good call, actually. I know we've seen he's against Jack
he
10
was-
and he's
yeah.
dead, but like, I think that might have been the right call.
Just brilliant.
No, you know, I just keep popping over to the feature, having a look what's going on, and then pulling info from later on, so I look like an absolute genius. All right, so now we've got King 7 of Spades opening and 9-6 of Diamonds defending.
I called a flop wrong yesterday, and I announced a 10 instead of an 8, and I said it's because the 10's coming on the turn, and it actually did come on the turn. He's like, "Oh, 30 minutes ago you were there, you were watching the table." I was like, no, I got lucky.
Any of your Towers trebles been in?
Unfortunately, we've gone broke. We need to win another tournament to get back on to get the funds back up.
Wages has got a
Absolutely.
real question for me. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've not been running well.
So how do I adjust in a satellite compared to a normal tournament? Well, firstly, if we talk about the national free roll specifically, there's 80,000. There's 80 runners, and there's 80,000 in the prize pool. So effectively, it's like you're in for 1,000, right? And the maximum prize is 5,000.
Yeah.
So the maximum you could do is 5x your money. And generally, when I play a satellite that's payouts where it's a 1 in 5 satellite, you need to change the game a lot, because how many times have you seen a guy with 1.5 stacks getting the money, for example? You have no reason to try and chip up to 7 times the starting stack, for example. So you have to find that balance of how tight do I play, or how conservative do I play when I get chips, or how much do I pressure others because they're doing that strategy. So there's a bit of both sides of that. And then the other adjustment is knowing when nobody could call ever, when you start shoving with any 2 cards. For example, there are spots in satellites where you fold kings to 1 raise and you shove with 7-2
Well, we had a fancy, obviously the MPL that we did last Saturday.
That's the
two bigs, 0.75.
Yeah, I saw Craig.
Maguire's dad.
Craig get
Paul
timed out. I saw that.
Yeah. Paul Maguire on the other table.
I love Craig. That guy is honestly I've said it before. He's probably my favourite player.
Yeah.
He's so like out there.
Yeah. And Paul Maguire on the other table. Blinds are 8,000.
He had half a big blind, right?
He gets a seat with 6,000 chips. He gets a 5,000 package.
But that's why you need to be in the middle stages of those tournaments. You need to be very careful.
Yeah.
And if you watch it back, you'll see me like dust off a 2x pot bet with 10 high in that very tournament. But and you know, in the moment, I was hating life. But I'm at this point now where I've got all these things whizzing around my head of theory against my read. You know, like the theory might say to bet huge, and my read says to just check. And then I'm fighting a mental battle of.
Absolutely awesome. Well, I'm just about to get a coffee. Would you like a drink?
I'd like a water.
A water?
Yes.
Want ice?
No, just
a normal bottle of water.
Yeah.
I'll get the water because Jay's incoming. You stay there, young man, and I'll be back with the drinks. Jay and
Tower,
Tom,
we all love you. The whole community loves you, Tower. Like, no question, right, Jay?
Yeah, obviously.
I mean,
have you seen him on a night out, Tom? You ever been on a night out?
No, I've never been on a night out.
Put it on the bucket.
What is that?
Honestly,
What do you do on these night outs?
We enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We enjoy
So
ourselves.
you imbibe in some casual beverages.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. I've never seen you at Mark Kelly's.
It's great. He's great to go on a night out with.
I can't hack it.
Good evening.
I'm not physically built for the, going out partying life.
Yeah.
How you doing, Jay?
Yeah, good. Thanks yourself.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to doing some
So
concert
we've got
with yourself.
Debo, great name, incredible name to be honest. Debo. I don't know what it means or it rolls off the tongue though. I'll tell you that. I like this guy already. So how you been doing? What's new in
Not much really. I've been so banged out of work this year. Commentary since July, I was smashing it.
You guys have been worked to death
lockdown,
this year, actually, compared to previous years. It's been so full on.
Yeah,
tour.
so haven't really had too much time to play, but I've been enjoying
just
the comps,
Blackpool on its own.
playing the sides. Yeah.
I saw you final one of the 400 or the 250 or one of them.
The mini in Blackpool.
Blackpool's a 2-week festival.
Yeah.
It was never like that, was it? It was like 5 days, 6 days.
Usually Monday to Sunday to Sunday.
For you guys, it's a slog.
Yeah.
People don't appreciate that enough. Like what goes on behind the scenes. Yuri's got the ladies. He's got the Gucci hat. He's got the ladies. He's got it all set up. Estimate on the price of that hat?
600.
Let's assume it's real. You know, no like weird adjustments for like real or fake. Oh, we got the hooks against the queens, and they're really deep. So, I mean, what do you like here, flat or 4-bet?
With the ladies gum versus +1. Oh, it's close. It is very close. Can be player dependent.
Agree.
I haven't actually seen Richard. I'm going to quickly see what he looks like.
Chufty.
Chufty. Oh, okay.
Old school PLO legend of the game.
Yeah, I might be leaning more towards 4-bet here again versus Chufty. With the
might pure flat in this tournament. I feel like in a live tournament, when you 4-bet under the gun plus under the gun 1, you just only get it in against Ace Queen Kings plus. Sorry, Ace King Queens plus, of course. I think maybe in theory you're supposed to 4-bet quite a lot, but I think live I would just call. I like this. I think 4-betting would not be a mistake at all, and I think it's like personal preference / player read, like you said. Like, do you think this player is if this player is like slightly wild, it's quite an easy 4-bet.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Shufty's gone for a C-bet. He's got the jacks. He's got kind of the best overpair to C-bet. I would feel more comfortable betting jacks than I would feel comfortable betting aces here. Just a call from Yuri, I imagine.
Yeah, after he's flatted pre, that's what you expect to see.
You could check raise, though. I wouldn't do it very often, but you definitely need protection.
So deuce of spades brings in the flush on the turn. Yuri with a queen of spades. He's going to lead now, Tom. What do you think of this after?
I wonder if Chufty will fold. This would be pretty
not
for 3.8.
Yeah,
not for 3.8.
Definitely not versus.
No, I thought it was like a 12 point something sort of bet. He's shoved instantly. Wow. Wow. Yuri might fold.
I wasn't expecting this. Just rips the jacks here.
I'll take 350 on the hat. 400. That range. That leather brim is usually like stupid money for one of those things. Like,
God, this is horrible.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, this isn't nice.
I'm not even going to comment too much on this. Like, I wouldn't blame him for folding. It's not any. If I was in game, I'd be like, Jesus, what is going on? Having the Queen of Spades is a fairly big deal. In terms of like backup. Of course, when you call here, you expect to be wrong. You expect to be behind quite a bit. You know, if it's a debatable spot, of course you're expecting to debate. Chef Brad, don't even start, mate. I read what you say in the chat. You're always like, oh, I'm dust right now. I'm broke.
What do you think this is from Richard, Tom? Like, what's this achieve here with the jacks? Like shoving the jacks here. Like, are we ever getting called by worse in this spot? Except from.
It's just protection mostly. I think he's made the quick judgment / read that. Come on, Chef Brad, stop it. Chef Brad's weaving his magic.
No, don't. We have to block him sometimes. He gets so irate.
Chef Brad is Chef Brad. So I think he's made a read on this bet sizing that he would never lead out with like a flush for this sizing. He's read it as a blocking bet, and he thinks jacks are always ahead of a blocking bet because you wouldn't really put him on queens.
Yeah, when he up to this size, yeah.
So he's just like, I'm going to end this pot, shut it down. There's too many draws. Like
could plausibly have like ace queen with the ace of spades, or
is he called? No, he's counting it.
Asking for a count. But like our main worry are aces and kings, obviously. That's our main worry. Like sevens,
aces,
eights,
kings,
nines, even
no
nines
spade.
expect a flat pre-flop a lot of the time versus gun.
But Shufty, you know, if he's good, he could have ace jack with the ace of spades, like really easily, as well. Any ace of spades X combo is like probably quite an easy jam because this. I mean, Shufty, we don't know for sure when he leads out 3,800 that he's, you know, never got the nuts. But like, if you're in Shufty's spot, you're not gonna read that as strength very often. I would say. I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah. Like, the hat is 600 to 4. You nailed it. 625. Cheers, Kev. And I reckon the Raiders hat was probably about £6.25.
Yeah, probably not. Kev asks, is Jack 10 suited possible here? It's only Jack 10 of hearts, because Jack 10 of spades is never shoving here, and Jack 10 of hearts probably never shoves even, because they've just got a lock a lot of the time on the board.
Pre-flop, definitely possible.
Wow,
shoving.
Folds.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. And he's going to be pissed when he tells him I had jacks.
I think he just did.
Shufty's not going to, like, he's not the type to lie about it, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
I think Shufty would have just told him quickly.
Yeah, I think he did.
Because he doesn't really mind telling him he had jacks anyway. It's not going to give him loads of information, is it, to say you had jacks? Like, generally in UK live tournaments, I'm pretty honest about like hands when I talk with people. It's not a big deal, and like, I don't know. I'm just trying to keep it friendly, like in general. Sometimes I just want to put my headphones on and not talk to anyone, but like, this is our community at the end of the day.
I saw you, obviously you busted earlier, no needle, but how did today go for you? Was it unlucky?
Very badly? Yeah. I wasn't unlucky, really. My second bullet, you could say I was unlucky, but I just lost loads of pots and busted. Like, my first bullet was purely my own demise, purely my own fault. Not going to talk about the hand because it would sound so insane. I've already talked about it with a couple people, and like, people are going to think I'm an absolute idiot if I told them the hand. I turned a straight into a bluff on a board with trips on it, and I was trying to bluff off everything that wasn't quads, and he had quads.
I want to know more now. I really want to know more now.
It was 100 bigs deep as well. Yeah. Decided to kind of go wild. Chef Brad.
I don't think so, Michael. Michael asked, do we think we get shoved
I do
on
like
a different turn size?
I
think if he went 3.8 into.
I think you probably would see a lot of shoves versus a lot of sizings, because leading out is generally not very strong in that situation. If your opponent has a flush there in this situation pre-flop, with the way the hand's gone down pre-flop, this, if you're new to poker, like, this is a huge part of like how to make decisions. You can break down the hand based on the two ranges that the two players have. One of them's raised under the gun, the other one's 3-bet from +1. Straight away, they've got very tight ranges.
Yeah.
And then the first guy calls a 3-bet. So you can, if you looked at the grid of hands, you could take out 80-90% of them straight away. And then you're only dealing with a very specific section of hands, and then you can make decisions based on that. So the guy under the gun leading out into the guy +1, sorry, Shufty, was the guy, who's the guy with the queen?
The cap guy, Gucci cap.
Gucci guy, yeah. So when Gucci leads out on the turn, Gucci should know that like Chufty has got a stronger range. Chufty's more likely to have aces or kings than Gucci. So it's funny calling him Gucci. I know we'll get his name back in a minute. Yuri, of course, yeah. And therefore, the lead out is generally not going to be very strong.
The thing on that 7, 8, 9 board though, as the free bet caller, we're going to have the 7s, 8s, and 9s though, as Yuri in that particular spot. Does he ever lead 7s, 8s, or 9s once the first spade rolls off for obviously protection purposes?
But would he lead for less than the C bet?
That's the question. Yeah, that is the question.
He would probably try and set up a river jam or something. And does 3800 really give you any protection?
Yeah,
if you bet less. If you bet less than the correct price for your opponent, so if you give them more than 3 or 4 to 1 in this situation, you're not protecting yourself really at all.
Yeah. He's actually getting 5.5 to 1.
You're just so he has to call with any gut shot overcard sort of
any
hand.
Any,
so you haven't really protected your hand. However, I like what you said there. I like the idea of leading 7s, 8s, and 9s. Like, those are hands that could benefit from protection, but I don't think you're going to have a flush very often, so I don't think you get to lead out very much at all.
James says, best place to revise range material, books or YouTube, etc.
Range material? Website called Range Converter, but you have to pay for charts and stuff. There is stuff on Upswing as well if you do have that, James.
That's what you say. I pay for Upswing Poker to learn how to put my whole cards into categories.
Well, it's common sense, correct. At the end of the day, you could break everything down to logical reasons, but there's so many spots. Like, there's just pre-flop already on its own. There's so many possibilities of like decisions. Like, there's so many different. The way the hand works when everyone folds to blind v blind, the way the ranges are is totally different to like cut off versus hijack, for example. So I think it depends on what level you're at. If you're familiar with solvers, you can build your own charts. You can find a way to like do it yourself for no money. But if you're new to poker and you've got Upswing, like you said, I would refer to those. Monka Solver is what I used to like check the data, basically.
Got JP at the table, I just realised.
Yeah, that's why I was the same. It took me about 3 or 4 minutes before I saw JP. He's got his back to us. But he's also quite low-key, JP Kelly. Used to be a bit of a blaster, actually. Not in a bad way, but used to have a bit of a rep for like, you know, he's one of these guys who could just like put you in randomly. Like, that's a good thing to have though, that reputation. You know, Jack was on this feature before, and like one of the reasons it's super hard, scary to play against Jack is he just might just rifle it in for 10x the pot. Like it is. He can put you in worlds of pain. I said this to Tower, like there's a level of play to go from a 9 out of 10 skill in poker to a 10 out of 10 is like an insanely difficult task.
Yeah.
Like you see these guys playing super high rollers, they've done all that work and they're demons for a reason, you know. I consider myself to be a 7.1 or a 7.4. You know, something like that. But I just put in a lot of hours to make me dollars, you know. I'm a 7.4 in a world of 5.6s.
JP most famous for bluffing into quads in the main event.
Oh, I can relate to that. Is he? I don't really remember that. And I remember a lot of these sort of things.
I'm not sure if I can recall that hand.
Monkey Solver. I've never heard anyone say that. That's great. It's so simple. The more you study with these solvers, the more you do feel like a bit of a monkey. You start doing some really ridiculous stuff on the surface.
A nice question from Wages Day. How often do you deviate away from game theory in live poker?
A lot. I mean, I'm struggling right now because I'm going towards GTO a lot more than I am from deviating. To be honest, the more I study. Like in the past, I didn't really study properly until like 2.5, 3 years ago. I would just play volume. And now I'm starting to gear way more towards GTO because I think the future is going to be extremely GTO. I mean, the more online progresses in time, the more you're going to fall behind if you don't study these things. How can a human brain ever be more experienced than a computer that can run like 10 million different spots in one evening, for example? You can't just be like, well, yeah, I know better than that. Well, explain to me how. I've got a lifetime of experience and like high volume as well, and like I had to look myself in the mirror and say, maybe you're not that good, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because you need to do that probably every year. Because like every year I look back and I think, man, I really wasn't that great a year ago, you know, but neither was anyone else, so the money was good. Let's get back to the game. Of course, I'm very happy to answer the questions, but I do trail on a bit.
It's good. It's good insight.
Yeah.
Well, I've never actually mentioned it before, but once I've done a commentary with Patrick Antonius, and this comes close. I'm looking forward to when Trig said to me you're coming to the booth.
You're a legend. I appreciate
hearing
that.
some of your insights, and obviously big fan of your game, see a lot on the feature table, respect it a lot.
I do ramble a lot. I just feel really comfortable playing these tournaments, specifically like UK sort of mid buy-ins. Now I feel like I can really like show off some random stuff as well that I've learned, like you know, these like random overbets sometimes, and like going back to the deviation thing, it really depends how soft my table is. If I'm on a table of all killers in a 10k buy-in tournament, I'm going to try and deviate as little as possible. Like, I'm going to try and see how when my opponents are deviating, so I know that they're not as good as I think when I'm in those high stakes. But, example, let's say the 500 midi on this schedule, I'm going to be deviating a lot to start trying to really put people under it, or like overfold a lot when I feel like I've got a very good read on a player who just isn't bluffing enough. Those are the ways to deviate the most. You either overfold or you play over aggressively because of their tendencies. Bots have feelings too, you're not wrong.
Fuck you. Take that.
Why are people studying for years and then give it away for free?
Do you know what, Rick? I rang you. You didn't.
Good question. I don't really think too deeply about it. I just answered the question. I mean, Peng, like I agree with you, but we're talking very directly with our own community here, and like you can try and teach someone as much as you want, like, but it doesn't mean that they're going to get better either. Just because they're listening doesn't mean that they're definitely going to get better. A lot of the things that you learn, it takes a lot of time to like work it out / build it into your game, because you've got all these mixed signals going around in your head. Someone teaches you something new and you try too hard to like force it into your game. Like, I think a lot of poker for me is like, you need to do what you feel comfortable with, because if you don't feel comfortable doing it, well, I mean, it's very rarely going to work out, because you're going to create these spots that you're not familiar with, you know. It gets hard. The more complex elements you add into your game, the harder your decisions are going to be down the streets a lot of the time. So Peng, I do agree with you. I think a lot of it is it's just game selection. I don't think in 5 years' time that poker's going to be unbeatable. I just think at the very high stakes or close to it, it's going to get harder and harder. There's also like a bit of a divide. A lot of these extremely good players, they only play like 5k or bigger nowadays. So I wouldn't say poker's going to become unbeatable in the next 5 years. I just think online specifically is always going to get tougher no matter what we do.
That makes sense.
Also, like I say, this is our community, and while you never want to like give out all the tricks, like he says, like Peng says, but I'm very happy for our community to get better, closer, just better at poker, you know, like. No, I don't really think I influence the quality of gameplay in the club. Me personally, I don't think so. I mean, is it possible that the commentary affects the gameplay in the club? Of course, but I would say it's very unlikely. I just don't think we need to think that deeply about it, really. We all love the game, we're all going to keep playing the game. Look at Chris in seat 5. Chris just loves the game.
Yeah.
A lot of us would just like we're gonna play no matter what because the game is great.
It's great because like you have a large proportion of the field still have normal jobs, still recreational players. They won't do this for a living, and this is like their
this is their
once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. They look forward to it. They get to come and play like a poker tournament, and they just enjoy themselves. And if they have a deep run, they have a deep run, and we see it a lot. There's always a few day 3.
Well,
it's never just always pros that make day 3. It's you always have a mix in there. It's always going to be the case.
A lot of the like regular players, they get a bit annoyed about how playing 20k, 100 blinds, you know, it's too deep, let's play faster, this is taking too long, that sort of stuff. But you need to make this a friendly, forgiving environment for the amateur players. This is not about the regular players. This tournament is not set up for the regs. This tournament is set up for to keep the dream alive, so that any random player can come in, feel like they had a great experience. They can win a satellite get in, they feel comfortable because of the environment, the community, and they have a real chance to win 6 figures. Like,
great story about he was on, I can't remember his name, he was on the David Hay free roll final table yesterday,
right,
and he came down and played the satellite for the grand final night for a £200 and he won a 2kc.
Legend.
And I was literally speaking to him while he was doing some comms with Tower just outside, and he was telling me how in the space of an hour he'd flopped 6 straights and won big pots, and he was up to 130k, and like he's like only really started playing, he's got 130k stack out there, he's satellited in for £200, and that's what it's all about for these guys. Like,
who was the guy? Anthony, was it?
Anthony Miles.
These are the guys we love.
Yeah, of course, I love seeing him.
They come in, they do okay in their first tournament. It spurs them on to play more poker. Before you know it, they're a regular on the tour, and they just love the game. You know. Just going through a few more of the chat. It is massive value, Peng. It's a great tournament. It is a great tournament. And you're right. If everyone was a sicko, it would be tough. But like, everyone isn't a sicko. The games, there's always going to be like recreational players coming in, and they can still win too. Like I think like, comparing this to online, if you were beating $100 tournaments online, you would be crushing this tournament, in my opinion. Yeah. Like even like $40 buy-in tournaments, maybe, sort of thing. But you know, can you hold it together when you're playing for 200 grand at the end? Are you going to start rocking it up and playing for the 7k pay jump, or are you going to start making good decisions? The questions come later on. That's the thing. I respect everyone for letting us to be able to watch it. Yeah, I agree. Like I say, there's a lot there's a lot of grafting behind the scenes here. Like really, and like I've said this to like James Dempsey like as well. Like sometimes he'll work like an 84-hour week, and you don't even think about it. All you're thinking about was the poker coverage. Like you don't really think like, hang on a minute. I've been listening to this guy every day for 9 hours a day. 9 hours, like. Yeah. It's no wonder they start to talk nonsense by like day 7.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it does.
Does break down. Hang on, here's a good one. Who do you rate the best 2 or 3 regs on the GUKPT for what reasons? Think of 2, and I'll think of 2, and then we'll say them and see if they line up. It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough because there's so many.
Such a big list.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's probably a list of about 20 that I could name, but thinking about.
Well, you've got regs, and then you've got successful regs on the tour as well. You know, how much does their success fix into it?
And the thing that people don't realise, like, someone might have had like this 6-figure score that kicked it all off for them, like, and they might have, this one card might have changed everything for that first deep run, and then there may be someone else with the same ability or a better ability that has had the opposite happen, where if this river card don't come in like an 8% situation, like they go on for a deep run and go on to win this tournament, and then they go on to all this success. There's so many little factors in this game, and
that when you think about that butterfly effect, like you say, like there's a lot of how many Fedor Holtzes does it require to? No, I mean how many does it take for one Fedor Holtz? Maybe there was like 1,500 kids with a skill level of Fedor, and Fedor was the one who had the right breakthroughs at the right moment, and then that is a key part of the game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's very crazy. Like, but again, that's the beauty of it. It's soul destroying sometimes. Like a year of Keller is one of the best. I agree. Just volume as well, and he's been around for a long time. I'll tell you one of them. I think, but I think it's a bit results based. So I think you can guess. Windsor. That
was who I was going to say. To be honest, that was the first.
I mean, how much can you win on the tour before you're not top 3?
Yeah, well, he's the biggest, he's earned the most since the GUKPT started. He only started playing it
by
5
a huge
years,
way, right?
Five years later than it began. That's when he played his first event, and he's so above second place, who I actually think is Jeff Kimber on the GUKPT circuit. But he's so above second place, and the money he's won and the tournaments that he's won as well. He's won this tournament twice, the grand final in itself, which is meant to be the toughest field of the year, and Ben definitely up there.
I think Ben's in probably the top 2, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that was the first name. When you said think of 2, Ben comes to my head straight away, and then I've been.
But I don't want to be too results based either. That's the problem. Let me think about this. Don't want to piss off too many people.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I mean, someone who Kellett was talking about on his interviews, the ones that come on between the breaks. Sorry, on the breaks, when you roll the footage. Let's talk about Deadman. And I always thought Deadman,
I never got to play with
Deadman was maybe the best, or very close to the best UK player, full stop, to be honest. Like, guys like Jake Cody, like superstars, obviously, that like rocketed to success, but Deadman never really had like a rush. If you go on a rush in the UK, it's not going to make you a worldwide star like Jake Cody became. You need to go on an absolute god run to be a UK player who becomes like a world known. And Deadman never really like had like a blow up period. He was just always like a live god. Like he would just he had such good physical reads, like, and unbelievably good composure. I think that's so underrated. That's something I really need to work on post lockdown, is my composure. I like what I'm doing in my decisions, but I get a bit sulky, And
everyone does.
But like, I keep telling myself, like, You're better than this.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. Like today I 2 hours went from starting set to 0, pretty much straight line, and I didn't like my composure, honestly. I wish I'd not been, I looked a bit annoyed some hands, and again, natural, but some guys, they never get phased by anything,
We've got some names coming in here as well. These are all great players. Phil Suki, Yanis Liparis. Liparis actually didn't come to my mind, but I played with Yanis when I used to play, and I always struggled against Yanis. Always struggled against him. And
Yanis is another person.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen him get pissed?
Yeah, never.
That's so big.
Yeah.
I tell this to people, if you're playing live for 12 hours on a day one with the same people all day, the toughest players are the ones who don't look like they get annoyed or phased or anything. They never have an emotional rise or drop.
Yeah.
They're just unfazed. Even if you might think what was he doing in that hand, by the end of the day you'll respect them because they seem pretty unfazed. Swarbsy, Ludo, Boz, now we're getting to some names. Siddle's been doing really well actually. But Siddle punted versus me on the final table, so no, he's not making it. No, I like Siddle, but he knows what I talk about. That was a long time ago, anyway. Nah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I lost the flip versus him, and I'll hold it against him forever. But
was it a punt?
Isn't Ali Malou? I think if we spoke to him, he would agree it was a punt.
Yeah.
And I've punted final tables, of course. Not trying to berate him here.
Yeah.
Just because I'm allowed to because I'm on the other end of the pot, the hand. Siddle. John Eames, legend. Siddle's really good at PLO.
Yeah, very, very good PLO player. Watched him the other night. He just gets it quietly. He doesn't get involved.
Well, that's Siddle. Actually, thinking about it, Siddle, he's someone who doesn't really rise or fall. He just, he's just very calm. I respect that. Not like me. People who know me know I get very not attached, but a bit mouthy. I'm not afraid to just say what I'm thinking or feeling.
Interesting one here, Tom. We're just going to jump back to the Asian. JP check raised the 8-6 on 10-10-7, facing +2, and Georgios scored with the 4s and then fired after check from JP Kelly on the turn.
Like that. I like the way he played that, actually. The king came off and he's basically turned his hand into a bluff. Yeah, let's try and keep track of the action. Because it's very easy to.
I'm loving the conversation. To be
same.
If there's any hands, we'll jump back into it.
I'm trying to make sure I don't randomly jump into a hand and be like, oh god, we missed.
Yeah.
Actual.
I'm keeping an eye on it. So if anything does occur, we'll jump into it.
Still trying to think of a second person. Guy Taylor, yeah.
For me, if I had to pick two, from my experience, you've been around a lot longer than me, Tom, but from my experience, I'd go Ben and Yanis. They'd be my two UK that I'd put in my top two if I had to. There's so many that would be close to nearly getting there, catalogue of names that would nearly get in there, but if I had to actually pick two, I think it would be Ben.
Can you pull up the GUKPT all-time cash list?
I don't think I can.
I think it's that. I think it is on Hendon. Yeah. If you go leaderboards or something like that, ranking, scroll down from ranking and lead. Yeah. There's a huge list of rankings by tour or something.
Okay. Oh yeah. GB and Ireland. Circuit. GUKPT.
I can definitely find it if I can use this laptop.
Yeah. That's mine.
Okay.
Oh, itself. Tom's on the look for that. Just going to jump into this because Yuri's open 10-6 in the hijack, and Devo opts to 3-bet the 8s, makes it 4.1. What's Devo working with here? 300, 600 level. So Devo started the hand with around 27 big blinds.
Prefer a shove.
Yeah.
But, this is
Not
fine.
really, yeah.
This is fine, but like it just gets kind of messy. Like if you don't really want them to call here at the end of the day, right? It's around here somewhere. I know it is. Venue leaderboards. GUKPT all-time money list.
They are.
Who is this?
Oh wow. Kimber's not even second anymore. He's dropped.
See, I was
fifth.
thinking about whether Trig was.
Yeah,
like,
Trig won Manchester, didn't he?
Ben Vincent.
Ben Windsor's got double the second.
60K.
860k just on the GUKPT for Ben
I haven't seen
Windsor.
Tanner since.
No. Tamer Kamal, that's a blast for me from I haven't seen him for a while.
I've seen him pre-lockdown briefly. So Yuri has defended with the 10-6 suited. It looks like Debo is now in a spot. Honestly, Debo should probably just bluff it all off. You should. I imagine the best play is just to bet tiny on the flop and
shove turn.
Bet small. I would 3 streets. I think I would bet like literally like 1,500 on the flop, 2,500 on the turn, and then all in on the river. But this is a spot that, you know, like I said, I probably would have just ripped pre-flop. But this is the problem. One overcard comes off with the 8s, and already you're like, ugh, this is puke. I hate this. Neil Channing, I love that guy. You know, Yanis is a really good shout, actually, because like he's low-key got 386k cashes on GUKPT. Extremely low-key.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that. You know, like Windsor, you know, he's obviously a superstar player. He's proved it with his results. But like he's very clearly run well as well.
Yeah.
And Yanis hasn't really had. He's had a couple of big cashes on GUKPT, but never like 6 figures. It's not like made up of one big cash. That's grinding.
But even if go back to Ben, even if we take Ben's 180k and 140k away from winning the grand final, he'd still be top of that list.
He has to make the list.
Yeah,
he has to
be
make
top of that list. That's the crazy thing.
I think no question top 3.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't put him top 3, you'd be absolutely insane.
Like taking his 2 grand final wins away from him, he'd still be top of the all-time money list in the GUKPT. That's the craziest thing about it. He'd still be top without 2 grand final wins.
You know what I want to see? Chris get into some nice juicy pots here. I like seeing Chris play.
Well, Devo goes 2k on the turn, so...
Yeah, I like it.
2K
Yuri might end up
9.
calling or folding, I'm not sure. I'd love him to make it 4k. I mean, it makes perfect sense, to be honest.
I thought he heard you, Tom. I thought he was going to chuck a 5k.
I would love him to just go 4k. It looks so tough. It just looks so strong. But then you're like, oh, they just have aces. But aces, it's pretty hard for someone to have aces when there's an ace out there.
Aaron, I'll chuck it up for you now quickly. Just there's next year's schedule. Oh, there. What do you fancy next year, Tom? Are you where are you travelling to?
Probably come back for the Vic. Maybe I don't know, to be honest, because my plan for next year is to take it pretty easy, not just not burn out. Yeah. Really, just make sure I'm well rested all the time. But then you're at home for a couple of weeks. You see a schedule, you're like, oh. May as well go.
Yeah,
it's only 3-hour train or whatever it is. Like in the UK. Maximum, it's not that much effort to get there. It's more the booking the room and all that, everything else attached with it. Praz Banzi, legend, actual legend.
It's a bit of blind on blind action here. Oliver ace-8 and Jamie ace-5. So both players with an ace here in the blinds. Oliver opting to raise 3x. And Jamie just folds the ace-5. I'm pretty surprised to see that.
Not allowed to fold that.
Not allowed.
We saw him fold ace-4 suited under the gun.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I think there's something to be said for playing tight if that's your comfortable style. I think that's, I've already said this, if you're comfortable with making the decisions you're making, you'll make better decisions with the amount of knowledge you have, right? That's all you can do at the end of the day. You can only play as good as the amount you've learned / studied.
Yeah.
You know, your experience plus your study is the total of your skill. So if you don't feel comfortable opening ace-4 suited under the gun, fair enough, but you're missing out on a lot of profit. Like, if you start opening these hands, you'll feel more comfortable the more you do it as well. You gotta kick the door in a bit to, but you know, to each his own. Maybe the lad's in for 200 quid. He's chipped up quite a lot. Wants to make day 2. He's playing a slightly more cautious style. Maybe he's never played on the feature before, you know, and he's tightened up a bit. Oh no.
Yeah, well, button versus small, this should just
His
go.
style, I think he might flap. But I've got Riggy here. Riggy's on an absolute tear, right?
Yeah.
I live in Shrewsbury Gully. He's flatted, yeah.
Yeah, like in a normal scenario here, I expect like a lot of players with 3-bet 9s versus button open, especially against Ollie. Ollie, a regular on our tour, going to open in a lot of hands on the button.
What's the one biggest mistake you see recreationals doing? See, if I said that, if I told you that, Peng would have my. He'd really hate me for that. Can't tell the whole world. Like, can't tell every. No, let me think for a second. You know, one thing is like just acting really quickly, like, and not just in terms of basic registering.
Yeah, I like Kev's one actually. Not 3-betting enough.
That's true.
That's a good one. That's
not taking the aggression themselves. But I think you see a lot of regulars take advantage of weaker players because they make a quick decision. And sometimes you immediately rule out hands because of the speed they acted. When a weaker player, for example, check calls your C-bet very quickly, it's very unlikely for them to have an extremely strong hand, because they're going to think about raising probably, right? Let's say the flop comes 9-8-7, you bet and they call instantly. You really think they got a straight? Maybe, but generally no. And for a lot of players that can be like a green light to just start battering you.
Yep.
So I would say just take a couple, if you're a recreational player, take a couple breaths before each decision, because then at least it's possible for you to have a lot of these, you know, hands that are decisions. You got to mask everything you do at the table.
Well, sits down, gets jacks.
Riggy going for the 3-bet, yeah. Chris definitely going to fold. It's just annoying. It's annoying to fold. Chris has had a kind of an annoying time at the feature, I feel like. You know, he hasn't really had to. He's had a few opens, he's been squeezed on, hasn't really been able to continue. Haven't seen him make any mistakes or do anything, you know, weird / crazy. Just played well, I think. It's just annoying when you get dealt hands and someone else has already 3-bet, you know? You're waiting for a spot.
That is frustrating.
Yeah, you're waiting for a spot, and then you're like, oh, I finally got 9s, and someone's 4-bet in front of you, and you're like, this is so annoying, this game. We love Riggy. Riggy is another one like Trevor, just a really nice, positive, never gets mad at the table, has a good time. regular on the tour. You see him at all the stops, not just like one or two. Willing to travel, just loves the game, loves all the games as well. Apparently played mixed games for a while, I believe. Really. Yeah.
Lovely guy off the table as
Agree.
well. Like,
Sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a lovely bloke to speak to.
Yeah, Riggy, good guy.
I'll let you know, guys, we haven't said any bust outs in a while since I've sat down. I'll let you know who we've lost. We've lost not Riggy. Raggy's gone from the field. Sam Grafton, Trevor Reardon, Michael Shepherd, Dahi Lau, Kenny Hullett, Ewan McNicholas, Kenny Hullett again, Tom Winston, Antonis Palengeris, Dan Moran, Kristen Dina, Harvey McGivern, Gary Bluston, Rapinda Chima, Garinda Purewell, Bradley Harwood, Jamie Nixon has just gone as well. And speaking of devil, last man out, Ben Windsor.
Ben Windsor.
Yeah, Ben Windsor. I'm sure Ben will be re-entering at some point, whether it be today or tomorrow.
Question for you here. Any ideas when the schedule for London end of January will be released?
I
don't know if you answered that already.
It's going to be released tomorrow, I think, over the weekend. We're going to release the full schedule for leg one. Jim came in earlier this morning and let us know that we're going to release it at some point this weekend, so hopefully tomorrow.
Where's a good place to start with GTO study? Honestly, I would start with DTO. That would be my starting point. I don't want to go too much into that because it's kind of boring to talk about GTO.
The thing is about that app, Tom, it absolutely baffles my mind sometimes. Like when I've got a spare, I'll play on it. I have a little play on it, and like some spots, and it's telling you like we should be going 1.5x pot here, like to make the most of big blinds, and like my brain just can't comprehend why, like in that specific scenario, and it's.
I tell you how I use it to. I run the same spot. Like I don't like just do random. You know, like I don't just run random because you can choose to do random where it does a mix of all sorts of spots, or you can say I want to do hijack versus big blind or blind be blind, for example, and then you keep doing that spot until you notice trends.
Okay.
And then you're training your brain to think a certain way when certain things come up. It's not about getting the right answer all the time. It's about tuning into certain things that keep coming up over and over again. You keep seeing like, oh, why is it overbetting that? I've seen this somewhere else, and then you're like, what's the correlating data between these two? What lines up between? And then you're like, oh, it's actually because we've got the king high flush blocker or something, whatever it may be. Like you start noticing these little things. What's up, Macapac?
How doing, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not trying to like push people in the GTO direction too much either, to be honest. Like I think it really depends on what part of your poker learning you're at, because I think if you start going into GTO too early, it's very hard to like implement it. Like it gets really complex really quickly, and poker is great because if you sit down on a table with players weaker than you, you're going to make money. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be better than your opponents. Well, that's the thing. You can train your brain, but the real learning experience is when you realize why.
Yeah.
You can watch someone do something on stream and try and emulate it, but if you don't know why it's happening, you're probably better off not doing it, to be honest.
And that's the thing about this game. Like you may see like a good player that you know is a good player. You might see him make some play, and you see him do it, and you're like, okay, I might start doing that myself. But then you start doing it yourself and not actually understanding why. You need to understand why you're actually doing it. Like why we suddenly start c-betting certain board textures like quarter and fifth pot. You need to understand why you're doing that, not just because you've seen someone do it. You need to understand you're going really small here because you don't need to go large on these dry textured boards because it's so hard for your opponent to connect.
You start putting terms to how you feel about a situation before. Hang on. in the early stages of playing poker, you start getting, the more and more you play, you start getting an instinct of what a good decision is based on your experience. But you don't really have the terminology to be able to explain why you do a certain thing. When I talk with people who are better than me at poker, they can talk in a language that like opens my mind up sometimes. Like they'll say something that I already knew, but like I never really was able to explain it verbally. And once you could explain it verbally, you could start building on that as well. Like understanding is a big key. I think GTO only play a part to a point. Experience is the key. I mean, if you just played GTO only, you would definitely make money. But experience is the key because it's about when to adjust from GTO. The key is to have GTO as the bottom line, and then, okay, this guy's very loose. How do I deviate from my strategy because of that? Or this guy's Albert. How do I deviate against Albert accordingly? Like
GTO might make you like X amount of big blinds, but veering away from that, exploiting against a certain opponent, is going to make you more big blinds, making a certain play rather than the game theory optimal play in certain situations.
GTO is also not going to teach you to look at your opponent. Sometimes, myself included, Riggy going in hard here.
Yeah.
Riggy really pushing it here. I like it.
Debo's turned the stones though.
Yeah, it's bad timing, but it's showing big heart. And one good thing I like about this turn bet is that he actually has the ace of hearts. He blocks his opponent from having ace 4, which is, you know, one of his most likely nutted hands. And he also blocks him from having all of these nut flush draws, which are hands that would have to continue. So having the ace of hearts here is actually a big advantage because it means your turn bet is going to get through a higher percentage of the time. Riggy's just saving face here, but I really respect the turn barrel here actually. I know it's not a great card for like, you know, why would he...
But we're still going to go this size with tens for aces a lot of the time.
Exactly.
We put pressure on all the
you
one
can
pair
still
holdings
represent
out the big blind, like the pairs and gut shots as well. Like there might be some 5-4, 5-6, all these hands, 9x in there as well. We just put so much pressure on those with that bet, just unfortunately.
You know, the other thing that GTO doesn't account for is the future. The future, like if you're on a mistake I made earlier today when I was discussing this hand where I decided to blast off. I had Albert on my table with a lot of chips. And that's something I didn't consider in the moment when I made the play. It means that the future, is bright. You know, that like I don't have to make very thin plays because I'm very likely to get good spots in the future. Like, not, you know, I love Albert. This is not my point here. We just know that Albert likes to splash around. Like, and Albert would of course agree with us.
And that he never makes flushes. We also
he
know
never
that.
ever makes flushes. I did actually see him make a second best flush earlier.
No
actually.
way.
Yeah,
no way.
He didn't actually. He took it well. But I'm just explaining this because this is exactly what was happening at the time. So, in the future of me being at the table is quite prosperous, and therefore I don't need to make thin. I don't need to go for every single spot as hard because I'm risking my future equity. It can be kind of hard to explain that sometimes, but the essence is that if you're on a very tough table, you want to play as close to theory optimal as possible because it's not like in the future you're going to start, you know, crushing everyone. Big hand here. Georgios, who's been very active, has actually found a check call here with King 10 suited, which frankly is a miracle. Chris is going to get paid here.
Yeah, 3 straights.
Yeah, no question. I would be shocked if Georgios check raised. I'm pretty shocked he check called the flop.
So players in the grand final, please make your way back to the ballroom now. That's all players in the grand final, please make your way back to the ballroom now. We're just going to 4 minutes remaining on your break.
Chris is giving a speech. No, don't check back. Don't check back.
He's not checking back, I don't think, Tom. I think he's gone for
Good lad.
3,000. He's gone quarter part on this actually.
He's actually looked. He's looked at his opponent. He's felt like this guy's not got an ace. I can't really get paid much here. 3k it is. Sometimes the game is as simple as that.
He says to him, just 3,000, that's all it is.
Sometimes you throw...
And then he says, I haven't got a flush.
Throw theory out the window and you just bet the amount that they can call. Georgios has really done really well here, to be honest.
Like, lost min. Well,
yeah, I mean,
I don't... lost absolute min.
Yeah.
And if he folded, it would be a miracle.
He's going to fold, I'm pretty sure. How long have we got left?
I think we've got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Right, fire questions if you...
Yeah, we've got 10 minutes left, Tom,
in,
before we go on the last break of the day, and then you will have me and Tao back for the final 2 hours, unfortunately, Tom.
It's not unfortunate. I'm grateful to have 2 hours here, and
it's been great. It's
a pleasure to talk with the chat.
I've only been in for an hour, but the insights I've just really, really enjoyed from yourself. It's been a really, really good listen. And just having a chat with you and getting... It's really nice when we get like really good players in here and just get their opinion on the game and insights on the game.
Well, it's good. It's good when you have like certain things reinforced as well. You know, like
faults.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is when you bet so small. Not that I think that was a bad bet. I think he made a great read on where he was at. Yeah. But is it ever a bluff?
Yeah.
You go to the point of so small that like some people, they've never got a small bet bluff. So you can just fold nearly everything. Like King 10 it's not beating any of his value bets. He's never betting Queen 10. So just a fold. No worries, Chef Brad.
I think when he goes, I haven't got a flush as well. That just screams call all the time as well. When he goes, I haven't.
I think after he's bet 3k, he wouldn't be able to talk him into it no matter what. I think it's just. I think Georgios has just happened to chose the best way out in that hand. Yeah, Chef Brad. Like the blocker bets is something like I do online as well, but like I think it's a very good live exploit as well. I think you can really screw with people's heads by like betting like 2 big blinds on the river into like 40 bigs. You know, you can get them to. You could be in a spot where, for example, I'll just answer your question. How do I cut out mistakes, Tom? Take more time on your decisions. Firstly, don't get carried away thinking about what other people think. Make the best decision you can with the information you've got. Don't try and think like, oh, I've seen this person do this, so I'm going to try this as well. I mean, that is going to work a lot of the time, but think logically about your decision and then make the decision that you're comfortable with. That's almost always going to be the best decision for you in that moment. But generally, just take more time for your decisions. And I'm not trying to slow the game down here. I just advocate everyone to take a couple of breaths, 5 seconds tops, before making, most decisions. I'm not talking about defending the big blind pre-flop. I'm talking about, when someone c-bets against you on the flop, stop snap calling. Like, take a breath, think about it, think about the options, do your thing. Fold more often, almost always true for almost everyone. 3-bet more often, usually true for everyone.
I think bluff rivers more often as well. It's something.
Understand your image. I think that's a good point, actually. Like, if you're someone, think about the last 2 hours of play on your table. How are people perceiving your game? Have you been quite tight passive? That's fine, but realize it and then try to use that to your advantage. JP's made a very small bet here. This is exactly what the Chef Brad likes. the small blocker bet on the river, and he's done it with a full house actually. But I think he's made a read on Chufty that Chufty wasn't very strong, and theoretically you are supposed to block bet with a 10 there, and he's hoping for his block bet to get raised so he can rejam with Queen 10 and level his opponent a bit. But yeah, understanding your image is a very big thing. A lot of these guys, you know, it's very clear that their appearance is quite tight, and you can really manipulate even extremely good players with that image to actually a crazy amount. You might see like a really good player like JP or Chufty make a really big fold based on like how tight a player's been playing. The lad in seat 3, he hasn't really done much on this table. You know, I think everyone else would agree that he seems like a tight player. If that guy 3-bet with ace-9 offsuit, it's just going to get through like 90. You know, like if you mix in a couple bluffs extra than usual when you've got that image, it's going to work. You'll see it yourself. You'll see it if you're a tight player. You'll see it in action. You'll see how much credit you get.
Yeah.
But then you got to pick the right sizing.
Wager says, I know Jay doesn't like donking straight on low boards, but does a lot of the Odin work on it. You're applying a donking strategy against early position c-bet. So the thing is, with myself, like Tom just go about, I'm uncomfortable donking. I don't think I've got a balanced enough strategy to be donking enough in these situations. I'm actually uncomfortable playing a donking strategy, so that's why I veer away from it so much. But you see a lot of the bosses like opting for this strategy, and I veer away from that reason. I'm very uncomfortable when I donk in certain situations. So that's basically what it comes down to for me. But I've seen plenty of crushers on this feature table donking on those type of board textures versus early position raises.
Well, it's good that you can openly say that, because a lot of people wouldn't want to admit that they don't have a balanced strategy, so they don't use it. And that's kind of what I'm advocating for here, is if you don't know the theory behind it, don't try too hard to integrate it into your game. You're just going to end up with an unbalanced strategy. So Wages is making a good point here, that this is a strategy that's a very profitable strategy that you can work into your game, but if you don't understand, then don't force it in, you know? I like that, Jay. That's the first thing. The first thing is looking in the mirror and admitting, like, I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because like it's very hard in any form of. I mean, this is a whole life for a lot of us. This game, and it's very hard to say that maybe I'm not actually good at this thing that I've had passion about for my whole life. You know, like I've had that moment a lot of times where I just feel like I speak to someone who is just very clearly better than me, and I'm straight away like, hang on a minute, I need to really crack my knuckles here. Like,
do you opt for many donks, or have you got a strategy for what boards you're going to be donking on versus like certain position opens?
Low boards is a good example. It's about leading on the boards that are just very clearly better for you than your opponent. And a board like 3-4-5, for example, like almost everything connected with the board is usually a candidate for leading. You want to have like a very mixed range. Typically, you want to like be able to have all sorts of the board.
Yeah.
You don't want to be specifically having top pair, for example.
Yeah.
So it comes 7-5-6 rainbow, like Queen 5 suited, for example, could be a candidate for leading, because leading is better than check calling.
Yeah.
And the solver likes to like not distinguish too much between his hands. Typical donk sizing would be in the region of 33% to 25%, something like that. Pads on pads aggregate reports 96% bet versus EP 765 rainbow. See, like, definitely don't try that strategy if you don't like understand it. See, even I'm not trying to bet 96%. I'm trying to like, all I'm trying to do is make sure that I can have a mixed strategy both on my check call, on my check raise, and on my donk bets. Like, I don't want to be too face up with any of those.
And that's the thing. I feel like I'm very mixed, very balanced the rest of my game, but like because I've never actually been comfortable donking, I've just eradicated it from my game and I don't incorporate it in.
Well, that's one of the things that DTO is good for, like testing it before you just run button versus big blind over and over again, and then you keep seeing these boards, and then you're like, okay, it seems to always lead out on this sort of turn card, you know. So typically it's a small bet in these situations when you lead out, and it's because you don't need to make a big bet, and generally you're not going to have a strong enough hand that the big bet is really logical either. It's about protecting your hand for a cheap amount, and also it's about how your opponent is supposed to react. Debo should definitely flat call here. I wouldn't like a 3-bet against Chris. Chris talks a lot, but I think he's flatting.
He did just announce at the table, Tom, as well, that he got dealt a hand under the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just like, he's talking and I'm listening, so.
Chris does that. I don't want to go too much, you know, I don't want to blow up a spot too much. I play with actually quite a lot with Chris. Calls me the gingerbread
So
man.
big hand. It's the last hand of the session, so we'll chuck the comms cam on. Join my Tom Hall. If you missed any of it all, it will all be uploaded to YouTube. You can watch it back. Really good insights from this man. Really, really enjoyed last hour or so with him. Been good, been very good.
I love commentating, it's so much fun.
Oh!
Wow. What happened on the flop? Check.
Check.
Uh-oh. You know, Chris is the type who could definitely get away from this. Not on the turn, but on the river, I believe. Guys, I love you all in the chat. I really do. I know, like I know I ramble on a bit, but honestly, I'm really trying to like. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help you guys. Like I really am. Like maybe I'm a bit misguided sometimes. I don't know everything, but I'm pretty good at like explaining, breaking stuff down to a level that almost everyone can understand. I think he will fold river as well, Gary. I think he will get away. It's going to go raise turn. Whoa, no. Chris.
Dead. AC announces that. Swear word comes out.
Oh, man, I like dead. Chris. I just don't, I never want him to bust. I just enjoy watching him play.
Well, he's going to have 13k back, but check marked to Devo here, and I'm pretty sure that's last hand of the session.
No, but like I see people in the chat sometimes. They're like, "Could you stop this strategy?" And like, this is our community here,
yeah,
and like, I want fun banter as well. But like, I love watching and just thinking about what's going on. Like live poker is so interesting. So, he's not out. He's got 13 left.
20-minute break, and that is going to be that for the session. Big thanks to this man, Tom Hall. I'd love to get you back in here next year if you're on any events. We'll sort something out.